Chapter 1. Late at night in the intern dormitory of Jiangnan Hospital in Jiangnan City. Pa young man who had been sleeping soundly sat up abruptly. When he saw the surroundings clearly, his heart was in a state of turmoil. This is the earth? Wasn't I going through the tribulation? Why am I here? Don't tell me. I'm back? Tang Long, the Emperor Greenwood, was one of the 5 emperors of the cultivation world. Unfortunately, he was killed by the divine thunder over the sky during the tribulation. To Tang Long's surprise, he was reborn on the earth. Although he had always been cynical and mischievous, he was still ecstatic to be reborn on the earth. He was originally a lost clerk on the earth. Because of his wood property, he was brought to the cultivation world by immortal Emu, who got lost and passed by the earth. In the past 500 years, although he became one of the 5 emperors of the cultivation world with his amazing talent, he still missed the earth very much. Unfortunately, he couldn't find the way back. Unexpectedly, after failing the tribulation, a wisp of his spirit returned to the earth and realized his dream for many years. That's not right. I'm only left with a broken primordial spirit. Where did this body come from? Tang Long slowly closed his eyes and understood what was going on after a moment. Under the divine thunder over the sky, a wisp of his spirit broke through the void and returned to the earth. Unconsciously, it completed the integration with the owner of this body. With the strength of the spirit of the Emperor Greenwood, even if only a wisp of remnant soul was left, it was still thousands of times stronger than ordinary people. After the integration, it naturally became the new owner of the body. Tang Long couldn't help but sigh that he had encountered such a small probability of success. Now he could only say sorry to the original owner of this body, see what wish he had and help him fulfill it. The soul of the owner of the body did not dissipate. Instead, it was integrated with Tang Long's powerful soul, retaining his complete memory. Phi's name was Qin Haodong, an orphan who was adopted by an old Chinese medicine practitioner. Now he was a 4th-year student of Jiangnan Medical College and was doing an internship here during the vacation. Influenced by the old Chinese medicine practitioner, his biggest wish was to find his parents and promote Chinese medicine. Promote Chinese medicine? That's easy. In terms of medical skills, he was the best in the cultivation world. The evergreen longevity art he practiced could also improve his cultivation by curing and saving people. However, finding his parents was something that could only be done step by step and depended on fate. From this moment on, Tang Long, the Qing Emperor, began a new life as Qin Haodong. The way, what era is it now? Phi's primordial spirit had broken through the void and arrived here, so he had no idea what time it was. He picked up the old dummy phone on the bedside table and glanced at it. The date displayed was July 2, 74 of the Huaxia calendar. He was taken away by the Emu Zhenren on the 1st of January in the 70th year of the Huaxia calendar, which was less than 5 years ago. No matter when, he, the Emperor Greenwood, was all-powerful in the cultivation world. Since he had been reborn, he could not be an ordinary person. However, now that his cultivation base and magic treasures were gone, he would have to start all over again. He would have to hurry up and cultivate. Thinking of this, Qin Haodong sat cross-legged on the bed and began to practice the evergreen with skill. After a long time, he gently exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and his eyes flashed. It seems that the spiritual qi on the earth is still too scarce. With his primordial spirit in the tribulation period as the foundation, he could only reach the middle stage of qi refining after one practice. He didn't even complete the foundation establishment. Qin Haodong shook his head, but there was no other way. He could only be patient and take it slow. At this moment, the dummy phone next to him rang. He took a look and found that it was a call from Ma Guoqiang, the chief physician. This guy was famous for being greedy and lustful in the hospital. Yesterday he intended to molest a female intern in the office, and Qin Haodong happened to see him. He must be up to no good when he called today. Thinking of this, Qin Haodong still pressed the answer button. Ma Guoqiang's ugly voice came from the other side of the phone. Little Qin, the emergency department is short of people tonight. You can work overtime. Qin Haodong said, Director Ma, I just worked 2 shifts. I should rest today. It's okay for young people to do more work. You should be worthy of the internship opportunity given by the hospital. I will write a good comment for you. After that, Ma Guoqiang directly hung up the phone. Qin Haodong immediately understood that the old goat began to make trouble for him, and he deliberately mentioned the internship file, which was obviously a threat. But there was no other way. The internship appraisal was in the hands of Ma Guoqiang, and he had to promote traditional Chinese medicine. He couldn't leave a disgraceful mark when he just took over this body. He got up, changed his clothes and walked to the emergency room. Upon the other side of the phone, there was a sneer on Ma Guoqiang's fat face. He had taken a fancy to that girl for a long time. It was not easy to find a chance to do it, but it was ruined, which made him very unhappy. It would be fine if Qin Haodong had a backer, but he was a poor student with no money and no background. He happened to be on duty tonight, so he wanted to teach this ignorant intern a lesson and let him know who he could not provoke in Jiangnan Hospital. Qin Haodong was busy as soon as he arrived at the emergency department. It was the department with the heaviest workload in the whole hospital, and Ma Guoqiang deliberately made things difficult for him by asking him to do all the work. He even arranged him to do the work of putting on the infusion bottle. Looking at Qin Haodong, who was busy, Ma Guoqiang felt very proud. He walked over with his big belly and said with a sneer, "An intern should have the awareness of an intern. You don't have medical skills and you don't have experience. You should do more rough work." Qin Haodong glanced at him indifferently. In fact, this work was nothing to him. On the contrary, it was a kind of cultivation. So, Director Ma's medical skills are very good? Of course, Director Ma, the reason why I became a chief physician before I was 40 years old, and I was respected in Jiangnan Hospital. Even the director thought highly of me. What did I rely on? It was because of my superb medical skills. After Ma Guoqiang said this, the young nurse next to him secretly laughed. His medical skills were far inferior to his ability to flatter. Even the hospital's sweeping floor knew this. The reason why he could get the position of chief physician had nothing to do with his medical skills. It was because of his teacher Zhang Tianhe. Zhang Tianhe was the leading medical expert in Jiangnan City. He had high medical skills and a wide network. Even the director of Jiangnan Hospital, Wen Chongjiang, had to give him some face. In the future, keep your eyes open. You have to figure out who you can offend in this hospital and who you can't. Don't do things that make people unhappy. As long as I, Director Ma, am happy, I'll give you some pointers in medical skills. It'll be enough for you to use for the rest of your life. As Ma Guoqiang was talking non-stop, the door of the emergency department opened, and a middle-aged couple walked in. The woman bent over and pressed her hand on her stomach. Her pale face looked extremely painful. With the help of the middle-aged man, she staggered in. Doctor, please take a look. My wife's stomach hurts badly, the middle-aged man said anxiously. Don't worry, I'm here. It'll be fine. Ma Guoqiang put on the air of a famous doctor and asked, "When did it start?" The middle-aged man replied, "Just now. She suddenly had a stomachache after eating." Ma Guoqiang asked a few more questions. Then, while filling out the prescription form, he said to the young nurse, "Acute gastroenteritis. Prepare the infusion immediately." Doctor, please hurry up. My wife can't take it anymore. Take this to pay and get the medicine. Gastroenteritis is very easy to treat. She'll be fine after an infusion. Ma Guoqiang handed the prescription form to the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man took it and was about to pay in a hurry. At this time Qin Haodong shouted, "Wait a minute. Doctor, what's the matter?" The middle-aged man asked in surprise. Don't go. Your wife doesn't have gastroenteritis at all. As soon as Qin Haodong said this, everyone's face changed. Ma Guoqiang's face immediately became gloomy. Qin Haodong, do you know what you're talking about? Of course I know. Qin Haodong smiled playfully and said, I'm saying Director Ma, who is highly respected in Jiangnan Hospital, even the director has to look up to you. You've misdiagnosed the patient. The patient doesn't have gastroenteritis at all. Misdiagnosis? Nonsense. The patient's symptoms are acute gastroenteritis. How could I misdiagnose? Ma Guoqiang shouted angrily. Seeing that the two doctors had different opinions, the middle-aged man was a little flustered and said anxiously, Doctor, who should I listen to? Qin Haodong said, Your wife has heart disease, not gastroenteritis at all. Qin Haodong, don't forget who you are. Ma Guoqiang then said to the middle-aged man, Don't believe his nonsense. He has no medical qualification at all. He's just an intern. I'm the hospital's expert and chief physician, and your wife does have acute gastroenteritis. While he was talking, the middle-aged woman suddenly fell to the ground with a thud. Her face became even paler and her body began to twitch slightly. White foam kept coming out of her mouth. Ma Guoqiang could no longer speak. At this time, even if he was stupid, he could see that the middle-aged woman's symptoms were heart disease, not gastroenteritis. Doctor, what should we do? The middle-aged man suddenly panicked and looked at Ma Guoqiang anxiously. It's heart disease. Hurry up and transfer. Ma Guoqiang was a little flustered. If the woman died of a heart attack in the emergency room because of his misdiagnosis, he would definitely be responsible. It's too late. Qin Haodong took out a needle bag from his pocket and opened it, revealing hundreds of silver needles. He quickly inserted more than a dozen silver needles into the major acupoints on the woman's chest. He had learned traditional Chinese medicine since he was a child, and silver needles were a necessary thing to carry with him. Qin Haodong, what are you doing? Ma Guoqiang was about to stop him, but he saw that after the silver needles were inserted, the woman's symptoms began to improve significantly. Her face became ruddy, her breathing stabilized, and she no longer foamed. The painful expression on her face was gone. Not only was Ma Guoqiang stunned, but the middle-aged man and the two young nurses were also stunned. No one had expected that Qin Haodong, who was so young, could have such amazing medical skills. Although the woman's acute heart disease was fierce, it was not too serious. After Qin Haodong unblocked her meridians with silver needles, she returned to normal. Putting away the silver needles, Qin Haodong took the prescription form from the middle-aged man's hand and wrote another prescription on the back. Your wife's heart disease has not been cured. Take the medicine according to this prescription, and she will be fine in half a month. P/P. Chapter 2. The middle-aged man looked at his wife who had recovered and said to Qin Haodong gratefully, Dr. Qin, thank you. Thank you for saving my wife. You're welcome. I'm a benevolent doctor. It's what I should do. Qin Haodong said. Dr. Qin, there's one thing I don't understand. I had a stomachache. How could it be a heart attack? The middle-aged woman asked doubtfully. This was also the question in Ma Guoqiang's mind. The middle-aged woman clearly had symptoms of acute gastroenteritis. Why did she have a heart attack? Qin Haodong said, the heart and abdomen are connected. The heart and the small intestine are the exterior and interior of each other. This is a simple truth that most doctors know. Dr. Qin is really amazing. He has such high medical skills at such a young age. Speaking of this, the middle-aged man turned to look at Ma Guoqiang. Unlike someone who is a chief physician and knows nothing. After he finished speaking, he and the middle-aged woman thanked Qin Haodong again and left the emergency room together. After the patient left, the atmosphere in the emergency room suddenly became awkward. The two young nurses looked at Ma Guoqiang with a strange expression. He had just bragged about his medical skills, but in the blink of an eye he was slapped in the face in public. Ma Guoqiang's old face was swollen. It was as red as a pig's liver. How could he put down his pride? In his opinion, all this was caused by the intern in front of him. After a moment of sluggishness he shouted angrily, Qin Haodong, an intern treated a patient. This is a serious violation of the hospital's rules. I'll report this to the director. You'll be fired. Do you dare? Qin Haodong looked at Ma Guoqiang with a smile. I'm just an intern. It doesn't matter if I leave Jiangnan Hospital. At most I'll find another hospital for my internship. What about you? A chief physician actually misdiagnosed a heart attack as an acute gastroenteritis and almost caused serious consequences. Do you think you can still keep your position as a chief physician if the hospital director finds out about this? Ma Guoqiang was suddenly speechless. If this matter was spread to the hospital's higher-ups, he would definitely lose his position as a chief physician, even if his teacher was Zhang Tianhe. He was just impulsive. Now that he had calmed down and regained his senses, he really didn't dare to report it to the higher-ups. Qin Haodong was too lazy to look at Ma Guoqiang again, ignoring the resentful eyes behind him. In the eyes of Emperor Greenwood, such a small figure was like an ant. Who would care about an ant's emotions? Ma Guoqiang's face was livid. He pulled a chair and sat next to Qin Haodong. He should thank Qin Haodong. If Qin Haodong hadn't corrected his mistakes in time, he would have been in big trouble today. But he didn't think so. In his opinion, Qin Haodong was deliberately humiliating him. He secretly made up his mind to find a chance to teach this intern a lesson. Pichin Haodong and Ma Guoqiang didn't say anything, so the two nurses couldn't say anything. The emergency room fell into a strange silence. Just then, a screeching sound of brakes came from outside the emergency room, and a commercial van suddenly stopped in front of the door. The car door opened and 4 or 5 bodyguards in black suits jumped out of the car. They then carried a woman covered in blood out of the car. Pete saved them. Where's the doctor? Hurry and save him. The head of the bodyguards hurriedly walked in front, and the other 4 bodyguards carried the patient and rushed into the emergency room. What's the situation? Ma Guoqiang immediately greeted them. He could see that these people were powerful, so he didn't dare to neglect them. The head of the bodyguards shouted, hurry up and save them. If anything happens to our president, you will all be in serious trouble. This time Ma Guoqiang saw the badge on the collar of the bodyguard's suits. There was a line of small characters on it, Security Department of Lin's Group. Was suddenly shocked. Lin's Group was the leading financial group in Jiangnan City, and its chairman was the famous Lin Ziyuan. So the injured person was Lin Ziyuan's daughter. Lin's Group not only had strong assets, but also had a strong background. It donated a lot of medical equipment to Jiangnan Hospital every year. After figuring this out, Ma Guoqiang quickly told the nurse next to him, hurry up and send the patient to the ICU for examination. I'll contact the teacher right away. For people with special identities, the hospital was extremely efficient. In less than 20 minutes, all the examination results of the injured were placed in front of Ma Guoqiang. Looking at the results of the examination, Ma Guoqiang was shocked. The patient's condition was too serious. Both legs were comminuted, 4 or 5 ribs were broken, and one of the broken bones had penetrated into the lobe of the lung. It was a miracle that he was still alive. How is the president? The head of the bodyguards asked with concern. The situation is very serious. We must operate immediately. What are you waiting for? Why don't you hurry up? The head of the bodyguards said angrily. Surgery? I also have to have that ability. Ma Guoqiang was very clear about his own ability. With such a serious injury, even Zhang Tianhe could only have a 20% chance of success. Of course he didn't dare to say these words. He wiped the cold sweat on his forehead and said, the patient's injury is too serious, and the operation is extremely complicated. I'm afraid the chance of success here is not high. I suggest transferring to another hospital. Transfer to another hospital? The head of the bodyguards almost went crazy. He roared with blood-red eyes, this is the best hospital in Jiangnan City. Where else can we transfer to? The imperial capital's chances should be higher. Ma Guoqiang said, trembling. Capital? Are you a King idiot? Don't you know how far it is from Jiangnan City to the capital? The head of the bodyguards flew into a rage. If he hadn't been counting on Ma Guoqiang to save the patient, he would have beaten him. Ma Guoqiang said quickly, don't get excited. I've already informed my teacher. He'll be here soon. There must be a way. This time he was complaining in his heart. His luck tonight was really bad. Why did he encounter such bad luck one after another? After he finished speaking, the head of the security guards just calmed down a little. At this time, the patient on the bed suddenly began to cough violently, and then spit out large mouthfuls of blood foam from her mouth. Then the monitoring equipment next to her made a harsh alarm. Pichin Haodong had been watching quietly. At this time he also frowned. The woman in front of him was seriously injured. Her vitality had begun to decrease, and her vitality was slowly dissipating. If she didn't get treatment soon, she would die. This time, a woman in a business suit rushed in, holding a little girl of 4 or 5 years old in her arms. The little girl was very beautiful. She was wearing a white dress, and her delicate little face was like that of a princess in a fairy tale. She was carrying a pink school bag on her back, which made her look particularly attractive. The woman was Bairu, the president's assistant of Lin's Group, and the little girl was Tang Tang, the daughter of the patient. Bairu shouted to the head of the bodyguards, Zhang Disheng, why haven't you rescued the president yet? What are you doing? Assistant, and the president is seriously injured. The useless doctors here can't operate at all. We're waiting for experts. What are you waiting for? The president will die if we wait any longer. And Bairu was furious. After seeing the patient on the bed, The little girl was stunned at first and then she cried, "Mama, get up, Mama. Hold me." She often saw on TV that her mother died, leaving only a baby. Thinking that she might never have a mother again, she cried more and more sadly. And Bairu quickly comforted her. Seeing the crying little girl, Qin Haodong's pupils suddenly shrank. His spirit was extremely powerful. At this time he felt a kind of blood intimacy from the depths of his soul from Tang Tang, which was more accurate than DNA. Is this my daughter? Qin Haodong looked at Tang Tang and was so excited that he couldn't speak. How could this be? How could he have such a big daughter? Suddenly he thought of the night before he left the earth. At that time Tang Long, who had gone to the capital to make a living, repeatedly failed. Frustrated, he went to the bar to drink and met Lin Momo, who was also frustrated and drunk for the first time in her life. As a result, they had a one-night stand. In the middle of the night, Lin Momo woke up first and left the hotel in a hurry. After he woke up, he went outside the hotel to look for someone, but was taken away from the earth by immortal Emu. This matter had always made Tang Long depressed. He lost his virginity, but he didn't know who the other party was. He didn't expect to meet his daughter today. It could be seen that the patient lying on the bed was the woman he had met in the bar. Knowing the identity of the patient, Qin Haodong could no longer calm down. He didn't have time to see his daughter. He quickly walked to Lin Momo's bed and reached out to feel her pulse. Qin Haodong, what are you going to do? Ma Guoqiang cried in horror. Now this woman was half dead and this little intern dared to go there to make trouble. Who would be responsible if something went wrong? This was the eldest daughter of the Lin family. Director Ma, the patient must be operated on immediately, or her life will be in danger, Qin Haodong shouted. Ma Guoqiang was annoyed. Isn't this nonsense? I also know it must be operated, but who will do it? You. Unexpectedly, Qin Haodong said, I will do the operation. Don't disturb me. It was about the life and death of his child's mother. He had no time to talk nonsense with Ma Guoqiang. He pushed Lin Momo to the operating room. Stop right there. Ma Guoqiang immediately ran to stop him. Qin Haodong didn't have time to talk nonsense with him. He turned back and slapped him. Bastard. Qin Haodong didn't use much strength in this slap. Ma Guoqiang quickly got up from the ground. He originally wanted to rush into the operating room, but he suddenly thought of something and stopped. In his opinion, the eldest daughter of the Lin family was in danger. If she really died here because she couldn't be saved in time, he would definitely not be able to escape the anger of the director and the Lin family. But if she died in Qin Haodong's hands, it would have nothing to do with him, which was a good thing from this point of view. Thinking of this, Ma Guoqiang didn't go to stop him. He symbolically stood there and shouted, Qin Haodong, you will be responsible if something goes wrong. Of course, Qin Haodong didn't care about this. He turned back and closed the door of the operating room. Bairu was confused by everything in front of her. She asked in surprise, who is he? Is he a doctor in your hospital? Chapter 3. His name is Qin Haodong. He's just an intern, Ma Guoqiang said awkwardly. What? An intern is going to operate on our president? Open the door and tell him to stop. Bairu roared crazily. This kind of door can't be opened from the outside if it's locked from the inside. I'll go to the director now. Ma Guoqiang ran out of the emergency department and ran to the director's office. The dean Wen Chongjiang was on duty tonight. He was going to complain to the dean first and shirk his responsibility. If anything happens to the president, I'll tear down your hospital. And Bairu was furious at Ma Guoqiang's back, but there was nothing she could do. Mommy. Mommy, Tang Tang cried again. And Bairu could only comfort her and wait for the emergency room to open. In the emergency room, Qin Haodong began to rescue Lin Momo. He took out the needle bag and shook it gently. The bag opened, revealing hundreds of silver needles of different sizes inside. Taking a deep breath, the greenwood genuine qi in his body flowed slowly and was injected into the silver needles in his hands. His hands moved smoothly and in a moment, more than a dozen silver needles were inserted into the major acupoints on Lin Momo's chest. Lin Momo was still vomiting blood, but the situation immediately improved with the insertion of the silver needles. Qin Haodong breathed a sigh of relief. Lin Momo's life was finally saved, but he didn't stop. The greenwood genuine chi turned into an invisible big hand and slowly pulled out the ribs inserted into her lungs. At the same time he used the rejuvenative needle to repair the injured tissues. After the ribs were connected, he reconnected the broken bones in her legs. A large amount of greenwood genuine chi was injected into Lin Momo's body to promote the rapid healing of the wounds. After all this was done, the instruments next to him stopped beeping, and all the indicators slowly returned to normal. Qin Haodong breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, he brought the child's mother back from the gates of hell. After the initial emergency treatment, Qin Haodong raised his hand and pulled out all the silver needles from Lin Momo's body. Then he took out a silver needle and inserted it into the dantian acupoint on her lower abdomen. Lin Momo's treatment was only the first step. She was not completely out of danger and the injured tissues had not been completely repaired. His silver needle contained the essence of the greenwood genuine chi, which could constantly help her recover. After doing all this, Qin Haodong hurried to the emergency room. The child's mother was fine, but the child was still crying outside. Pan Bairu was anxiously guarding the door of the emergency room when she suddenly saw the door open and the intern walk out. After Qin Haodong came out, Zhang Dixing and the others immediately surrounded him. And Bairu cried, "What did you do to the president?" "I'm fine now." While speaking, Qin Haodong's eyes were fixed on Tang Tang. At this moment he only had eyes for his daughter. "Are you all right now?" And Bairu didn't believe it at all. She hurried into the emergency room with Tang Tang in her arms, and Qin Haodong followed closely behind. Lin Momo was lying peacefully on the sickbed. Except for the blood stains on her body, she looked no different from sleeping. If the instrument next to her hadn't shown normal, she would have thought that Qin Haodong had killed Lin Momo. Pan Bairu couldn't believe her eyes. She had seen Lin Momo's appearance just now. He was basically half dead. How could she be fine in the blink of an eye? Moreover, the door of the emergency room had only been closed for more than 10 minutes. No matter how good Qin Haodong's medical skills were, it was impossible for him to cure such a serious injury in such a short time, unless he was an immortal. Did you really cure the president?" Pan Bairu asked subconsciously. "Yes, Miss Lin is fine now," Qin Haodong replied. Great. Great. The little fellow understood the conversation between the two and immediately applauded happily. "I'm so happy. I can still have mama." Looking at the happy Tang Tang, Qin Haodong said to Bairu, "Missin, can I hold her?" Well, and Bairu hesitated. She shouldn't let strangers get close to Tang Tang, but Qin Haodong saved Lin Momo and he didn't look like a bad guy. Missin, I just like children very much. Let me hold her." Qin Haodong said with a longing look. Brother. Tang Tang, who had been crying just now, took the initiative to stretch out her two chubby little hands to Qin Haodong. Pan Bairu was slightly surprised. She knew that Tang Tang was very picky and rarely let strangers hold her. She didn't know why she had such a good impression of the young man in front of her. She looked at the bodyguard standing at the door and felt that nothing would go wrong, so she handed Tang Tang over to Qin Haodong. Daughter," Qin Haodong cried in his heart, and then he held Tang Tang tightly in his arms. A feeling of flesh and blood welled up in his heart. He had been playing in the human world for 500 years and never thought that he would have a daughter. At this time he was no longer the all-powerful Emperor Greenwood, but a father who doted on his daughter. Big brother, you're so handsome." Tang Tang reached out her two little hands to hold Qin Haodong's cheeks and said. Not brother, it's uncle." Qin Haodong corrected Tang Tang. It was a big gap for his daughter to call him brother. But mama said that a man with a beard is an uncle and a man without a beard is a brother. You don't have a beard, so shouldn't I call you brother?" Well. Qin Haodong was speechless. This body was good, but it was too white and tender and the beard was a little light. You can't count it like that. You should call me uncle." All right then, handsome uncle. What's your name?" Qin Haodong asked. Tang Tang. Hearing his daughter's name, Qin Haodong's heart warmed. With the power of the Lin family, it was not difficult to find out his identity. What was rare was that Lin Momo let her daughter take his surname. Handsome uncle, did you save mama?" the little fellow asked, holding Qin Haodong's neck. Yes. Because she is my mother, I had to save her, Qin Haodong said intimately. Then why did that person stop you and not let you save mama?" Pete because he is an idiot. He couldn't save Mama, so he thought that Uncle couldn't either. Pete idiot. Big idiot. Tang Tang giggled. Handsome uncle, why can you save Mama? Are you a miracle-working doctor? P. Yes, I'm a miracle-working doctor. P. Chin Haodong nodded. In the cultivation world he was a famous medical sage. No one could be more worthy of the word miracle-working doctor than him. P. Uncle, you are so awesome. Can I call you Uncle Miracle-working Doctor from now on? P. Of course. P. Uncle Miracle-working Doctor, when can Mama talk to me and send me to kindergarten again? P. Tomorrow. Mama will talk to me tomorrow morning and send me to kindergarten. P. Great, thank you, Uncle Miracle-working Doctor. The little fellow said and kissed Chin Haodong on the cheek. P. Oh my God, my heart is beating so fast. P. Chin Haodong smiled like a flower. He was not so excited when he kissed the Empress. His daughter's kiss was more precious than anything else. P. After calming down he said, well, let's go out and let Mama have a good rest, okay? P. Okay, let's go out to play and let Mama have a good sleep. P. Chin Haodong carried her out of the emergency room. The father and daughter played games at the door. In the director's office, Ma Guoqiang was standing in front of the director, when Chongjiang panting. P. Dean, something big has happened. P. When Chongjiang frowned and asked, why are you so flustered? What's going on? P. The new intern in our hospital made a big mistake. Ma Guoqiang briefly told the story, emphasizing how Chin Haodong ignored his advice and forcibly operated on Lin Momo. P. What? You said the intern was operating on the young lady of the Lin family? P. When Chongjiang was originally sitting steadily, but when he heard this he immediately stood up. P. Although he was the director of the hospital he could not afford to offend the Lin family. If Lin Momo was really killed by the intern in Jiangnan Hospital he would be in big trouble. He would not be able to bear the anger of the Lin family. P.S. The intern is called Chin Haodong. He admired my medical skills very much and wanted to learn from me, but I didn't agree. Who knew that this guy would not leave the emergency room? Later he became crazy and insisted on operating on Miss Lin. Why didn't you stop him? When Chongjiang said angrily. P. Director, I did stop him, but that guy was a barbarian. He didn't listen to me and hit me. Ma Guoqiang pointed to the palm print on his face and said, Director, I have been a doctor for more than 10 years, but I have never seen such an unruly intern. He is obviously trying to harm our hospital. We must deal with him seriously. Pete, don't talk nonsense. Go to the emergency room now. When Chongjiang rushed out of the office and Ma Guoqiang followed him. There was a trace of complacency at the corner of his mouth. Looking at Wen Chongjiang's angry expression, he had successfully put the blame on Chin Haodong. Pa little intern dared to make trouble for him again and again. Let's see how I will kill him. They went out of the office building and came to the door of the emergency hall. They met Lin Ziyuan, who was in a hurry. Pete, hello Mr. Lin. Wen Chongjiang hurried to greet him. Lin Ziyuan was full of his daughter's safety, so he was not in the mood to be polite to Wen Chongjiang. He nodded and was about to walk inside. At this time a black car came quickly and stopped in front of the hall. It's my teacher. Ma Guoqiang greeted him and ran to open the door. A middle-aged man in his 50s came out. It was Zhang Tianhe, a famous medical master in Jiangnan City. Master Zhang, I have to trouble you to do it yourself this time. Lin Ziyuan came forward and said. He contacted Zhang Tianhe as soon as he learned that his daughter had a car accident. Zhang Tianhe said with a conceited face, Mr. Lin, don't worry. As long as I, Zhang Tianhe, am here, your daughter will be fine. Lin Ziyuan nodded and said, I know the rules. The number 6 villa in Jiangnan Picturesque District is ready. The top medical expert in Jiangnan City, Zhang Tianhe had a rule for treating patients. He didn't accept cash, only luxury villas. Over the years he had houses in various high-end communities in Jiangnan City. Jiangnan Picturesque District was the newly developed top luxury residence of Lin's group. Each villa was worth more than 10 million yuan. After hearing Lin Ziyuan's words, Zhang Tianhe nodded with satisfaction. He turned to look at Ma Guoqiang and asked, how is Miss Lin's injury, P? Chapter 4. She's badly hurt, Ma Guoqiang said as he took out the examination results from his pocket and gave them to Zhang Tianhe. Zhang Tianhe took the results and looked at them as he walked. The more he looked, the more serious he looked. He didn't expect Lin Momo to be so badly hurt. Even if he took action, he barely had a 20% chance or even less. But he had just boasted and taken the house. If he said he was not sure now, he would lose face. He was afraid that he would not be able to stand in Jiangnan City in the future. While talking, they came to the door of the emergency room. Ma Guoqiang was about to take the opportunity to complain again, but he saw that the door of the emergency room was open. Qin Haodong was playing with a beautiful little girl at the door, looking very relaxed. Wen Changjiang's face darkened and he looked at Ma Guoqiang. Ma Guoqiang also wondered why the operating room was open. In order to prove that he was not lying, he rushed up and shouted, "Qin Haodong, you are an intern. Who gave you the right to operate on a patient? My teacher could have saved Miss Lin, but now because of your trouble Miss Lin's condition has become more serious. Even my teacher is not sure." The purpose of his words was to add a crime to Qin Haodong. Zhang Tianhe was really happy when he heard this, but he put on an unhappy look and said, "Director Wen, the management of your hospital is too messy. How can I treat this?" Wen Changjiang had long suppressed his anger. He immediately said in a cold voice, "You are an unruly intern. You operate on a patient without a doctor's qualification. Now you are fired." This was the result that Qin Haodong had expected. At this time he didn't care about the position of an intern. The important thing was that he had saved Lin Momo and found his daughter. "I can leave, but I have also cured Miss Lin. Don't take the silver needles off her body before dawn." When he spoke he didn't look at Wen Changjiang. He had been looking at Tang Tang dotingly. Nonsense. Zhang Tianhe snorted. He had just read the results of the examination. He didn't believe that Lin Momo could be cured, let alone take an intern's words seriously. Of course Lin Ziyuan didn't believe it either. He didn't understand why his granddaughter was so intimate with the intern, but he had no time to care about it. He said eagerly, "Master Zhang, don't waste time. Hurry up and treat my daughter." Hearing that these people were going to treat her mother, the little fellow said in a childish voice, "Grandpa, Mama's illness has been cured by Uncle Magic Doctor. He can send me to kindergarten tomorrow." However, Lin Ziyuan still didn't believe Tang Tang's words. He thought it was something Enrich made up to appease a child, so he led Zhang Tianhe into the emergency room followed by Ma Guoqiang. Enrich wanted to explain to Lin Ziyuan, but she couldn't find a chance to do so. "Uncle Magic Doctor, they don't believe me." The little girl pursed her lips and looked aggrieved as if she would cry at any time. Qin Haodong quickly comforted her, "Tang Tang, don't be sad. They don't believe you because they are all idiots." "I'm not an idiot." The little fellow said. It seemed that she still had feelings for Lin Ziyuan. "Yes, Grandpa is not an idiot, but he was tricked by an idiot. That guy just now was a big idiot and now he found an old idiot. Big idiot, old idiot, these two idiots are so fun." The little fellow immediately cheered up. "Uncle Magic Doctor, I'm hungry. Can you take me to eat delicious food?" The little fellow had just come back from kindergarten and hadn't finished eating yet. Naturally she was hungry. "You're hungry. Uncle will take you to buy delicious food now." Okay, I'm going to eat delicious food." Although Qin Haodong wanted to be alone with his daughter, he knew that it was impossible in this situation. He said to Enrich, "Let's go together." Enrich was naturally worried about leaving Tang Tang alone with Qin Haodong. She followed him to the convenience store across the road with 2 bodyguards behind them. In the emergency room, Lin Ziyuan and the others were all stunned when they saw Lin Momo lying on the bed. Although she was still in a coma, her face was ruddy and she looked at ease. She didn't look like a seriously injured patient at all. Zhang Tianhe was known as a master in the medical field of Jiangnan, and he had dabbled in both Chinese and Western medicine. He first looked at the data on the instrument next to him and then felt Lin Momo's pulse. He thought to himself, "She is not a patient at all. She is not seriously injured at all." Seeing Lin Momo's appearance, Lin Ziyuan was slightly relieved, but he still asked, "Master Zhang, how is my daughter?" Zhang Tianhe said, "Maybe there is something wrong with the hospital's instrument. Miss Lin is not seriously ill. I'll prescribe some medicine for her and she will be fine after a few days." Hearing Zhang Tianhe's words, Lin Ziyuan's heart was finally relieved. At this time, Ma Guoqiang saw the silver needle in Lin Momo's lower abdomen. He said to Zhang Tianhe, "Teacher, this is the silver needle that the guy was talking about. It's ridiculous that an intern who knows nothing dares to teach a teacher how to treat a disease. I really don't know who gave him the courage. Zhang Tianhe said, it's just a trick. Miss Lin is not injured at all. Take it out. Lin Ziyuan was an extremely shrewd businessman. He seemed to have realized something and said, Master Zhang, this needle is not harmful. Why don't you just let it go? PMA Guoqiang was so scared by Qin Haodong that he almost wet his pants. He was holding a grudge in his heart and wanted to humiliate Qin Haodong. He said, Mr. Lin, my teacher said that the intern is just a trick. Don't believe what he said. Well, Lin Ziyuan didn't know what to say. After all, he was a famous medical master while Zhang Tianhe was just an unknown intern. Comparing the two, he naturally chose to believe Zhang Tianhe. PMA Guoqiang pulled out the silver needle with a smile on his face. He was very happy. An intern also wanted to be in the limelight, but he wouldn't let him. But as soon as he took his hand back, he saw Lin Momo's face quickly turn pale, and the instrument next to her made a shrill alarm. PMA Guoqiang was shocked. How could this be? Bastard, what did you do? Lin Ziyuan grabbed Ma Guoqiang's collar and scolded him. Mr. Lin, let me go first. Ma Guoqiang looked at Zhang Tianhe in panic and said, Teacher, please think of a way. Zhang Tianhe rushed forward to check her pulse again. This time he frowned more and more. Her pulse, which was very stable just now, was now in a mess. Her life could be in danger at any time. What was worse was that he couldn't see what the problem was at all. Zhang Tianhe, what the hell is going on? Seeing his daughter's life in danger, Lin Ziyuan was like an angry lion. Well, Zhang Tianhe couldn't explain. He turned his head and saw Ma Guoqiang. He shouted, You bastard, what the hell did you do? Teacher, it's not my fault. You asked me to pull out the needle, Ma Guoqiang said in panic. Zhang Tianhe slapped Ma Guoqiang's face and scolded, Bastard, how dare you talk back to the teacher? I was just testing your medical skills. I didn't expect you to pull out the needle before I could react. With your level, you don't deserve to be a doctor. PMA Guoqiang was shocked. He immediately understood that the old guy didn't want to take responsibility. He was playing the trick of throwing a pawn to save a chariot. He didn't care about the relationship between master and disciple. He shouted, Old guy, it was you who asked me to pull it out. How can you blame me? You're a traitor. Seeing the two of them quarreling endlessly and shifting the blame to each other, Lin Ziyuan wanted to kill them. He already understood that it was the young man who had just saved his daughter. Now it was ruined by these two idiots. Shut up. If anything happens to my daughter today, both of you will be buried with her. Zhang Tianhe trembled with fear. He had treated many senior officials over the years and had a close relationship with some of the top figures in Jiangnan City. However, these were nothing in the eyes of Lin's group. If Lin Ziyuan wanted to kill him, it would be easier than killing a chicken. PMA Guoqiang also realized that he was in big trouble. He said in panic, How about I put the needle back? Lin Ziyuan slapped him in the face. Do you know where to put it? Although he didn't know medicine, he knew that the needle couldn't be inserted randomly. This time when Changjiang pulled Lin Ziyuan away and advised, Mr. Lin, calm down. The top priority is to save Miss Lin. Lin Ziyuan kicked Ma Guoqiang away and said with annoyance, There's no way to save these two good-for-nothings. How can we save her? They can't, but someone can. Get the intern back. He must have a way. When Changjiang had been watching coldly. As the dean, he had basic eyesight. He had already understood what was going on. Now if they wanted to save Lin Momo, they could only ask Qin Haodong back. There was no other way. Lin Ziyuan also thought of this and quickly said, Yes. I'll send someone to call him back now. PMA Guoqiang stepped forward and said, I'll go and get him back. Before Lin Ziyuan could speak, he turned and ran out. He was not stupid. He didn't think that Lin Ziyuan was just joking. If Lin Momo really died, Zhang Tianhe might be able to save his life because of his connections in Jiangnan City, but he was nothing. There was only a dead end. Now if he wanted to live, getting Qin Haodong back was his only chance. Qin Haodong and Enbairu went to the convenience store opposite to buy some snacks. As soon as they walked to the gate of Jiangnan Hospital, they saw Ma Guoqiang running toward them. Little Qin, I was wrong. I was a snob. I was narrow-minded. I shouldn't have been jealous of your medical skills. Please save me. Ma Guoqiang knelt in front of Qin Haodong, slapping himself and begging bitterly. In the face of the threat of life, he no longer cared about his face. He was afraid that Qin Haodong would not treat Lin Momo and he was in a hurry, so he knelt as soon as he came. "Peek, what's going on? I haven't seen him for a while. Is there something wrong with this person's mind?" Both Qin Haodong and Enbairu looked at Ma Guoqiang, who was slapping himself in surprise. The little fellow even held Qin Haodong's neck nervously. It seemed that she was a little scared. Uncle Magic Doctor, what's the big idiot doing? Is he crazy? Chapter 5. Little Qin, go back and see Miss Lin or it will be too late, Ma Guoqiang said eagerly. It was about his life and future, so he had to be anxious. What did you say? Qin Haodong asked. Miss Lin's condition is very bad. Her life is in danger. Go and see her. How could this happen? What did you do? Qin Haodong asked coldly. He knew Lin Momo's condition very well. As long as the silver needles were not pulled out, she would be fine. Don't blame me. Zhang Tianhe asked me to pull out the needles, bastard. Before Ma Guoqiang finished speaking, Qin Haodong kicked him in the lower abdomen. The kick was so powerful that his short and fat body flew high like a ball and then fell into the flower garden 7 or 8 meters away. The big idiot is flying. It's fun to kick a ball. Tang Tang clapped her hands excitedly. Knowing that Lin Momo was in danger, Qin Haodong didn't care about anything else. He handed the little fellow to Enbairu and rushed to the emergency room. Oh my god, how could he be so fast? Pan Bairu was shocked by Qin Haodong's speed. She realized that the young man in front of her was not ordinary, so she rushed over with Tang Tang in her arms. Seeing that Lin Momo's condition was getting more and more dangerous, Lin Ziyuan was so anxious that he kept walking on the ground like an ant on a hot pan. Seeing Qin Haodong appear at the door, he immediately saw his savior. He rushed forward and said, "Dr. Qin, it was my fault just now. Please save my daughter no matter what you want. Don't worry, President Lin. I'm here. Everything will be fine." Before Lin Ziyuan finished speaking, Qin Haodong had already come to Lin Momo's bed. Lin Ziyuan was slightly stunned. He had thought that even if Qin Haodong agreed to treat Lin Momo, he would ask for a lot of conditions. He didn't expect that Qin Haodong would agree so quickly. Go away. Qin Haodong pushed away Zhang Tianhe, who was walking around Lin Momo's bed. He naturally didn't have a good attitude towards someone who almost killed his child's mother. Zhang Tianhe had always carried the title of Master Zhang. No matter where he went, he was always greeted with a smile and was extremely respectful. He had never received such treatment before, but he didn't even dare to let out a fart. Qin Haodong didn't even look at him. He put his hand on Lin Momo's wrist. After a while, he took out the silver needles and quickly pierced them into a dozen acupoints on Lin Momo's chest. Miraculously, after the silver needles entered her body, Lin Momo's condition was immediately relieved, and the instruments next to her that were constantly sounding alarms also quieted down. Zhang Tianhe, Wen Changjiang, and Lin Ziyuan all opened their mouths wide in surprise. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed that there was such a magical medical skill in the world. Alright, everything's fine now. Qin Haodong knew that these people must have something to say, so he waved his hand and said, "Let's talk outside and let Miss Lin have a good rest." They left the ward together. When they were outside, Lin Ziyuan took Qin Haodong's hand and said gratefully, "Dr. Qin, thank you. Thank you so much." You're welcome, Mr. Lin. This is what I should do, Qin Haodong said. Of course, Lin Ziyuan didn't know the meaning of Qin Haodong's words. He said again, "I only have one daughter. You saved her, which is equivalent to saving our whole family." Qin Haodong said, "Although Miss Lin's condition is now stable, in order to prevent any accidents, I will take care of her here tonight. Do you have any objections?" Really? That's great. Thank you so much." Lin Ziyuan was worried that his daughter would be in danger again. He was worried about how to talk to Qin Haodong, but he didn't expect that Qin Haodong would take the initiative to say it. "Dr. Qin, this is the key to Villa number 6 in Jiangnan Picturesque District. From today on it will be your house," Lin Ziyuan said as he handed a bunch of keys to Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong didn't hesitate to take them and put them in his pocket. What kind of person was Emperor Greenwood? In order to ask for his help, the cultivation world would give him a city. Naturally, he would not care about a house. Zhang Tianhe had just been shocked by Qin Haodong's miraculous medical skills. Only now did he come back to his senses. With a charming smile he stepped forward and said, Mr. Qin, I'm Zhang Tianhe. As long as you're willing to teach me that medical skill, I'm willing to worship you as my teacher. He understood that Qin Haodong's medical skills were definitely much better than his. If he could learn such magical medical skills, not only in Jiangnan City but also in the entire Jiangnan province, he would be able to do whatever he wanted. This man had always been mercenary. As long as there were enough benefits, he could even call Qin Haodong grandpa, so he immediately proposed to worship Qin Haodong as his teacher. In his opinion, with his reputation in Jiangnan City, Qin Haodong would definitely agree happily if he could lower his status and take the initiative to worship him as his teacher. Unexpectedly, Qin Haodong didn't even look at him and turned his head to the side. Uncle Magic Doctor, hug. Pan Bairu walked over with Tang Tang in her arms. The little fellow immediately struggled to be held by Qin Haodong. After seeing his daughter, Qin Haodong's expression immediately softened and he reached out to hold her in his arms. The expression on Zhang Tianhe's face changed. He suppressed his anger and said, Mr. Qin, if you pass on your medical skills to me, I will definitely be able to save a lot of people. And with my identity, I won't disgrace your medical skills. It will help you earn a lot of houses, won't it? Lin Ziyuan said coldly. He was now extremely disappointed with Master Zhang, who was greedy for money and had no real skills. He even hated him to the extreme. Qin Haodong sneered and said, the medical skills are mine. I don't want to teach you. What can you do? Zhang Tianhe cried with an agitated look. How can you do this? This is a disgrace to medical skills. You are wrong. Then tell me, what should I do? Qin Haodong said with a playful look. I have already lowered my status and worshipped you as my teacher. You should teach me all your medical skills and then let me carry them forward and save people. Seeing the guy in front of him chattering endlessly, Qin Haodong finally understood what it meant to be full of benevolence, righteousness and morality, but a belly full of thieves and prostitutes. He shouted, get out of here. After that he raised his leg and kicked out. Zhang Tianhe immediately rolled out along the corridor like a ball. Great. Great. The old fool is flying. Uncle Magic Doctor is so handsome. The little fellow was excited again. She kept clapping her hands and then said vaguely, kicking a ball is so fun. I want to see more. Qin Haodong was a little depressed. His daughter seemed to have a violent tendency. But since his daughter had asked as a father, he had to satisfy her. This time Ma Guoqiang ran over with a dirty face with a few leaves on his head. Before he could speak, he saw a huge foot appear in front of him and then it flew out again. Zhang Tianhe had just gotten up from the ground when he was knocked down by his disciple again. The two rolled on the ground like gourds. Great. The big fool is flying again. It's so fun, Tang Tang giggled. This time when Changjiang came to Qin Haodong and said, Little Qin, are you interested in working in our hospital? As long as you nod, you will immediately become an official doctor of our hospital. Lin Ziyuan said, Director Wen, Dr. Qin has such high medical skills. Isn't it a waste of his talent to let him work here as an ordinary doctor? Yes. Look at me, I didn't make myself clear. Before when Changjiang finished speaking, Ma Guoqiang ran back hurriedly. Zhang Tianhe was not a doctor of Jiangnan Hospital. After he got up, he left dejectedly, but he couldn't leave. He still wanted to eat here in the future. Director. Before Ma Guoqiang finished speaking, when Changjiang said with a cold face, Don't call me director. From now on you are no longer a staff of our hospital. You are fired. Director, please don't, director. Please give me another chance. Ma Guoqiang begged, but when Changjiang didn't look at him anymore. He turned back to Qin Haodong with a smile and said, Little Qin, as long as you are willing to come to our hospital, Ma Guoqiang's position is yours. You will be promoted to chief physician directly. Ma Guoqiang looked sad. He had worked hard for half of his life to become a chief physician. He didn't expect that he would become Qin Haodong's in the blink of an eye. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have complained to the director. Now not only did he fail, but he was also punished. But Qin Haodong didn't care about the precious chief physician in his eyes at all. What he wanted to do was to develop traditional Chinese medicine. How could he come here to be a small doctor? Thank you, Director Wen. I haven't graduated yet. I don't plan to work for the time being. Wen Changjiang was also a little surprised. He quickly said, "Little Qin, think about it again. I can handle the graduation certificate specially, no need. I don't want to work for the time being." Qin Haodong refused again without hesitation. Wen Changjiang shook his head regretfully. He had already seen the value of Qin Haodong's medical skills. If this young man was in charge, Jiangnan Hospital would soar. Unfortunately, Qin Haodong didn't care about his olive branch. Get out of here. Don't stay here and embarrass yourself." Wen Changjiang vented his unhappiness on Ma Guoqiang and directly drove him out of the hospital. He arranged for someone to send Lin Momo to the VIP room and then left. It was over 10 o'clock in the evening. The little fellow yawned several times. Obviously she was sleepy. Lin Xian said, "Dr. Qin, I'll take her back to sleep. Please take care of her." Qin Haodong said, "It's okay. Don't worry. I'll take good care of Miss Lin. Don't go. I want to play with Uncle Magic Doctor." The little fellow hugged Qin Haodong's neck and said, "Go home and sleep first. Then you'll have the energy to play with Uncle tomorrow." Qin Haodong coaxed, "Uncle Magic Doctor, you must play with me tomorrow." "Well, I'll see you tomorrow." "Then let's make a pinky promise." The little fellow stretched out her white and tender little finger. "Okay, pinky promise." Qin Haodong stretched out his finger and made a pinky promise with her. "Goodbye, Uncle Magic Doctor." The little fellow kissed Qin Haodong on the cheek again. Then she reluctantly returned to her grandfather's arms. Lin Xian left with Tang Tang, leaving in Bairu and the other two bodyguards. Chapter 6. The condition of the VIP room was excellent. Qin Haodong fetched a basin of hot water and wiped the blood on Lin Momo's body with a towel. "Mr. Qin, let me do it," and Bairu said. "No, you don't know where she is hurt. It's easy to touch her wounds." After refusing and Bairu, Qin Haodong began to wipe Lin Momo's blood. Bairu didn't say anything more. She looked at the young man in front of her carefully. His gentle movements and serious expression made her feel as if he was wiping a rare treasure. He felt strange. He was a young man in his early 20s, but his eyes showed such strong maturity and vicissitudes. Soon, Qin Haodong wiped the blood on Li Mingming's body, and a beautiful face appeared in front of him. Although he had seen many holy virgins and princesses of the major forces, and several women in the cultivation world were rare, he was still amazed by Lin Momo's beauty. The face, the figure, the curve, tut-tut. She deserved to be his woman. Her beauty was off the charts. She was inhumanly beautiful. From the moment he saw Tang Tang, he had already determined that Lin Momo was Qin Haodong's woman. Why didn't I see Tang Tang's father?" Qin Haodong asked. He wanted to know if Lin Momo had married these years. Tang Tang doesn't have a father. And Bairu sighed and said, "The president has never said who Tang Tang's father is, and that man has never appeared. Momo may have her own difficulties, but that cruel and unscrupulous man has not come to see his daughter for so many years. If I know who he is, I will kick his balls." Bairu said angrily. She was not only Lin Momo's assistant, but also her good sister. He had always been fighting for Lin Momo. Ahem. Qin Haodong coughed and almost choked on his own saliva. "Dr. Qin, are you okay?" And Bairu looked at him in surprise and asked. "I'm fine. I'm fine." Qin Haodong subconsciously clamped his legs and changed the topic. "Miss Lin is such a good woman. There should be many people pursuing her. Didn't she remarry?" Never. Momo may have been hurt by that heartless man. Since she had Tang Tang, her temperament has changed greatly. She is cold to everyone. Not to mention marriage, she has not even had a boyfriend. Qin Haodong felt relieved, and at the same time he felt infinite pity for Lin Momo, who was lying on the sickbed. He asked again, "What happened today? How did Miss Lin get hurt?" This was the question in his heart. With Lin Momo's identity and the bodyguards around her, such a serious car accident should not have happened. Bairu said, "After work I went to the kindergarten with the president to pick up Tang Tang. When we were crossing the road, a black car without a license plate suddenly rushed over and hit Momo." Qin Haodong frowned slightly and said, "Have you found the driver who caused the accident?" No, the car didn't stop after it hit them. It sped up and fled. I didn't think it was an ordinary traffic accident. I was afraid that Tang Tang would have another accident, so I asked Zhang Debiao and the others to take our president to the hospital first while I went to pick her up. Pai just called the Public Security Bureau, and the police found the car at the bottom of a cliff, but the driver had been smashed into a meat patty. Pichin Haodong said coldly, "This is not a traffic accident but a murder." Pan Bairu said, "It's normal." After Momo took over the president's position, the scale of Lin's group's industry doubled, which touched a lot of interests. Naturally, there will be people who want her dead. Moreover, Lin's group is not peaceful, and there are many people who are eyeing the president's throne. No matter who it is, anyone who dares to touch my woman will be sent to hell. Pichin Haodong snorted in his heart, and a huge chill instantly filled the whole ward. What's going on? Is the air conditioner too low? Pan Bairu tightened her collar, got up and turned up the air conditioner by 2 degrees. The next morning, Qin Haodong pulled out the silver needles from Lin Momo's lower abdomen. After a night's nourishment with greenwood genuine qi, her injury had almost recovered. This kind of recovery speed was a great miracle in the history of modern medicine. However, Qin Haodong still shook his head slightly. His current cultivation was too low, so his medical skills could not be used. If he still had the cultivation of the cultivation world, this kind of minor injury could be cured in minutes. After the silver needles were pulled out, Lin Momo quickly opened her eyes and sat up on the bed. Although she had been seriously injured last night, her mind was still clear. She knew clearly what had happened later. She knew that it was the young man in front of her who had pulled her back from the gates of hell. She said to Qin Haodong, "Thank you, Dr. Qin." Qin Haodong looked at Lin Momo and felt that her whole body was cold. He could not even feel the slightest warmth when he thanked her. It was hard to associate her with the woman who was as passionate as fire that night. "You're welcome. This is what I should do," Qin Haodong said. Seeing the intern staring at her, Lin Momo frowned slightly. She did not like the feeling of being stared at by others. "Mizan, give Dr. Qin a check of 1 million yuan as my thanks." Qin Haodong said, "No, Mr. Lin has already given me a suite. This is the medical fee. My father is my father and I am me. After all, no amount of money can buy my life." What happened this time really scared Lin Momo. If she really died like this, leaving little Tang Tang alone, it would make her heart palpitate. Pan Bairu, who was next to her, was shocked. Last night, Qin Haodong told Tang Tang that Lin Momo would recover this morning. She thought it was a lie, but she did not expect it to be true. The young man's medical skills were so amazing that he could make a dying patient recover in just one night. Hearing Lin Momo's words, she came to her senses. She took out a checkbook from her small bag, wrote a check of 1 million yuan and sent it to Qin Haodong. "Miss Lin, I said I can't take the money." Qin Haodong did not take the check. Lin Momo said, "What's wrong? Do you think it's too little? Then tell me a number and I'll definitely satisfy you." "It's not about the money." Qin Haodong said, "Miss Lin, if you really want to thank me, then promise me one thing." What was more important than 1 million yuan? Thinking of the way Qin Haodong looked at her, Lin Momo seemed to have guessed what his request was. She immediately said in a cold voice, "Dr. Qin, if you think you can do anything to me after saving me, then you're wrong. I advise you to give up the unrealistic idea." It was no wonder that she would have such a misunderstanding. The men around her these years were like flies that could not be driven away. Because she was annoyed by the harassment, she always put on a cold face. Qin Haodong was slightly stunned, and then he understood what Lin Momo meant. He quickly said, "Miss Lin, you misunderstood me. It's not what you think. I just feel that Tang Tang and I are very congenial, so I want to take her as my goddaughter. That's my only request." Although pursuing Lin Momo was also his goal, it could not be rushed. The urgent matter was to let Tang Tang call him father. The feeling of being called uncle by his daughter made him very uncomfortable. Godfather was also a father. This was the best way he could think of at present. It felt better than being called uncle by his daughter. What? You want to be Tang Tang's godfather? After a slight shock, Lin Momo's cheeks became hot. She thought that Qin Haodong wanted to pursue her, but it turned out that she was wrong. "P.S. I like Tang Tang very much." Qin Haodong added, "If you let me be Tang Tang's godfather, I can guarantee that she will never get sick." Well, Lin Momo was a little hesitant. Tang Tang did not have a father, which was always a pain in her heart. The hateful man disappeared after one night and there was no news of him. Many times Tang Tang cried for a father and asked why the baby did not have a father, which made Lin Momo speechless. A godfather was better than no father. Maybe it could comfort her daughter's inner world. At this time, Lin Momo had the same idea as Qin Haodong. What moved her the most was Qin Haodong's last words. He could guarantee that his daughter would not get sick for the rest of her life. No parent didn't want their child to be healthy. Especially after experiencing life and death this time, she knew more about the value of life. Well, as long as Tang Tang is willing, I have no objection. Great, thank you, Miss Lin. Qin Haodong forcibly suppressed his inner excitement. He was afraid that if he showed too much joy, it would arouse Lin Momo's suspicion. As for Tang Tang, this little girl would be happy to accept him as her godfather. This time and Bairu said, Dr. Qin, can you tell me the follow-up treatment plan for the president? No more treatment. You can go through the discharge procedures immediately. What? Do you mean that the president has recovered? Pan Bairu asked in surprise. It was beyond her expectation that Lin Momo could recover to this extent. If she had recovered, it could only be described as a miracle. Qin Haodong recovered from his excitement and hurriedly said, I mean there is no need for treatment in the hospital. Although Miss Lin looks normal, her internal organs still need to be nurtured. But the treatment can be moved to home in the future. I will give her acupuncture and massage every day. Fact, Lin Momo had recovered from her injury and did not need follow-up treatment at all. The reason why Qin Haodong said this was to create an opportunity for himself to be with Lin Momo. Of course he had to catch up with his own woman. How could he let go of such a good opportunity? Dr. Qin, how long will the acupuncture and massage take? Lin Momo asked. It is estimated that it will take half a month. The specific details will depend on her recovery. Qin Haodong did not say anything definite. He left himself some leeway. For a woman like Lin Momo, if he really cut off the treatment, he was afraid that he would not even be able to enter the door of the Lin family. Chapter 7. Lin Momo got out of bed and moved her stiff limbs, feeling that everything had returned to the level before the injury. Qin Haodong was right. She could leave the hospital now, so she asked Bairu to go through the discharge procedures. When they walked out of the hospital gate, several luxury cars stopped in front of the door. Zhang Debiao and a dozen bodyguards immediately greeted Lin Momo when they saw her. After the incident yesterday, Lin Ziyuan strengthened the protection of his daughter. However, only these bodyguards came and he didn't see the little fellow, which made Qin Haodong somewhat disappointed. Fortunately, he had a trick up his sleeve. He got in the car with Lin Momo under the pretext of going to the clinic for treatment. Otherwise, he would not have seen his daughter today. In the Lin's villa, Bairu went back to the company to deal with the affairs. Qin Haodong followed Lin Momo into the house. As soon as they entered the door, they saw a mess. Lin Ziyuan was holding Tang Tang in his arms and walking toward the door in a panic. Behind him was a female doctor in a white coat and a big mask. The little fellow was dispirited in Lin Ziyuan's arms. His spirit was low and his face was ashen. He didn't have the slightest liveliness from yesterday. Dad, what's going on? Lin Momo rushed forward and asked. Momo, have you really recovered? Lin Ziyuan was slightly surprised to see his daughter, and then said, Tang Tang is sick and has a bad fever. I'm going to take her to the hospital. What's going on? I've always been in good health. How could I get sick? Lin Momo asked anxiously. Lin Ziyuan said, maybe he caught a cold at the hospital last night and when he came back he had a fever. Dr. Gao gave him medicine several times, but it didn't work, so he had to go to the hospital. The Dr. Gao that he was referring to was the family doctor, Gao Yan. For a big family like theirs, they would have a family doctor, so there was no need to go to the hospital for minor ailments. Gao Yan stepped forward and further explained to Lin Momo. Miss Lin, I've just given Tang Tang the best antipyretics and the most advanced antibiotics, but they didn't work. Now Tang Tang has a high fever of 39.5 degrees Celsius. I suspect she's infected with a new virus. It's not something that our family's medical conditions can treat. We'd better go to the hospital for a blood test to confirm the diagnosis as soon as possible. What? You gave Tang Tang antibiotics? Don't you know antibiotics are harmful to children? Qin Haodong was furious when he heard this. The little fellow was his life. Jenny could not allow any harm to come to him. Are you questioning my medical skills? I treated her in advance according to the most advanced treatment plan in M country. Gao Yan noticed Qin Haodong behind Lin Momo and asked coldly, Who are you? Do you know medicine? What right do you have to doubt me? Lin Momo explained, Sister Gao, this is Dr. Qin Haodong. Gao Yan had always been cold and arrogant. Seeing that Qin Haodong was about 20 years old, she didn't take him seriously at all. She said disdainfully, Miss Lin, you know my medical skills. Not any doctor can question me. At this time the exhausted little fellow heard Qin Haodong's voice. She struggled to open her eyes and cried weakly, Dr. Magic, help me. I'm so uncomfortable. I may die. Lin Momo was the current president of Lin's group. Her injury was highly confidential, so Gao Yan did not know about it. Hearing the little fellow call Qin Haodong Uncle Magic Doctor, her expression became even more disdainful. Dr. Magic, it's so funny. You can only fool children. Her voice was not loud, but everyone in the room heard it. Lin Ziyuan and Lin Momo's expressions changed slightly. They were afraid that Qin Haodong would get angry. Qin Haodong had no time to pay attention to this self-righteous woman. He took the little fellow from Lin Ziyuan's arms and said, Mr. Lin, leave Tang Tang to me. Her illness can't be cured even in the hospital. He had seen that the little fellow was not infected with a new virus at all. She was a weak child and the evil spirit in the hospital was strong. Last night she was contaminated with evil spirit and had a fever. If the evil spirit was not removed as soon as possible, it would cause great harm to her body. Dr. Qin, sorry to trouble you, Lin Ziyuan said politely. He now admired Qin Haodong's medical skills from the bottom of his heart. Gao Yan said loudly, No, Mr. Lin, Tang Tang's situation is very dangerous now. She can't stand any more trouble. She must go to the hospital immediately. Dr. Gao, Qin's medical skills are very high. He can definitely cure Tang Tang. Lin Ziyuan explained. At this time Qin Haodong had put Tang Tang on the sofa in the hall and took out the needle bag. His cultivation had not recovered much. If he had entered the foundation realm, he could have removed the evil spirit in his body with a simple incantation. But now he had to use acupuncture. What? You're a Chinese medicine practitioner? Seeing Qin Haodong take out the needle bag, Gao Yan immediately flashed between him and Tang Tang. She said to Lin Ziyuan and Lin Momo, Mr. Lin, Miss Lin, Chinese medicine is a trick. Don't believe it. If you let him do this, Tang Tang will be hurt. Qin Haodong's face darkened. This woman was not finished yet. He said in a cold voice, You're not qualified to question Chinese medicine. Get out of my way. Lin Momo stepped forward and said, Sister Gao, don't worry. Dr. Qin's medical skills are really good. Miss Lin, I hope you respect science and don't be blinded by love. Tang Tang is still young. You can't hurt her because of your personal feelings. In her opinion, Qin Haodong was Lin Momo's new toy boy. The reason why Lin Momo believed this person was completely out of emotional consideration, not how good Qin Haodong's medical skills were. Lin Momo was also a domineering president in the company. At this time, being questioned by a small family doctor, her face suddenly darkened. Dr. Gao, it's my right to choose who to treat Tang Tang. Please get out of my way. Oh, I'm the family doctor. It's my duty to be responsible for the patient. As long as I'm here, he can't touch Tang Tang unless you fire me. Gao Yan had been the family doctor of the Lin family for more than 3 years. Usually the father and daughter of the Lin family respected her very much, which also made her proud. She thought that between her and Qin Haodong, Lin Momo would definitely choose her. After all, she was a doctor of medicine who returned from studying in M country. Both her education and medical skills were real. Well, you're fired now, Lin Momo said in a deep voice. What? Only then did Gao Yan realize what a stupid thing she had done. She quickly looked at Lin Ziyuan, hoping to get a turn for the better from him. Lin Ziyuan said in a deep voice, Dr. Gao, you've been in our family for so long. I'll give you one more chance. Get out of my way or leave. Although Gao Yan was a doctor of medicine who returned from studying in M country, it was not easy to find a big boss like the Lin family. Between her job and her face, she finally chose the former. Her arrogance just now was swept away and she silently stepped aside. Qin Haodong came to the little fellow. Tang Tang looked at the silver needles in his hand and said with some fear, "Uncle Magic Doctor, are you going to give me acupuncture?" "Yes, as long as I give her a few needles she'll be fine." "Uncle Magic Doctor, does it hurt?" "You said I'm a magic doctor." "Of course it doesn't hurt. Only stupid quacks' needles hurt." "Well, I'll close my eyes. It won't hurt if I don't look." Tang Tang obediently closed her eyes and asked, "Uncle Magic Doctor, how long will it take to give me acupuncture?" "Very soon. Sing a song for me. When you finish singing I'll be fine," Qin Haodong said as he stabbed more than a dozen silver needles into Tang Tang's acupoints from head to toe. His needle-making technique had reached the state of perfection. Under the nourishment of greenwood genuine qi, the little fellow felt nothing at all. She closed her eyes and began to sing. "Little rabbit, be good. Open the door." There was not too much evil spirit in Tang Tang's body, so it was very easy to expel it. After 2 or 3 minutes, it was completely expelled by Qin Haodong. When he pulled out the silver needles, the little fellow had not finished singing the nursery rhyme. "Well, Tang Tang, you don't need to sing anymore. It's finished." Qin Haodong gently pinched the little fellow's chubby face. "Really, it doesn't hurt at all." Tang Tang jumped up from the sofa excitedly. Her face, which had turned blue a few minutes ago, had recovered its ruddy color. Her whole body also seemed to be charged and restored to its former vitality. Lin Xian stepped forward to touch the little fellow's forehead and cried in surprise, "It's not burning anymore. It's really not burning anymore." Although he knew that Qin Haodong's medical skills were magical, it was still far beyond his expectation that Tang Tang was cured so quickly. After all, the little fellow had been terribly hot in his arms just now. "Uncle Magic Doctor, you're really great. You cured me so quickly." The little fellow jumped up and down on the sofa excitedly. "Of course, you said that I'm a magic doctor." Qin Haodong smiled. "Uncle Magic Doctor, you can treat me alone when I'm sick in the future. Don't let Aunt Gao see me anymore. She gave me several injections. It hurts, but I'm still very uncomfortable." Gao Yan was stunned. After hearing Tang Tang's words, she came to her senses and said, "That's impossible. It must be the medicine I just gave you. Chinese medicine is all deceptive. Can't have such an effect." Qin Haodong turned his head, glanced at Gao Yan and said, "Have you studied Chinese medicine?" "I'm a doctor who studied abroad in M country. How could I learn deceptive tricks?" Gao Yan said disdainfully, "Do you know Chinese medicine? Why should I know that kind of thing?" Qin Haodong took 2 steps forward, stared at Gao Yan and said, "Are you out of your mind? You haven't studied Chinese medicine, nor do you understand it. You don't even know what it is. How can you say that Chinese medicine is deceptive?" "My professor told me. He said that Chinese medicine is not scientific at all. It's completely superstitious and can't cure diseases at all." "You said that Chinese medicine can't cure diseases. Then how did you cure me?" Qin Haodong said with a cold face. At this time, a ball of anger rose in his heart. These people who didn't know what Chinese medicine was like to slander it. There was no evidence at all, but they still said it with confidence. "I've said that I must have cured Tang Tang. It has nothing to do with you. Only Western medicine is the right way, and Western medicine is the most scientific." Chapter 8. What did you say? Gao Yan took 2 steps back subconsciously. "I said your mouth stinks. You know what I mean." Lin Ziyuan and Lin Momo didn't understand the real meaning of Qin Haodong's words. They thought Qin Haodong was angry and said that Gao Yan was rude and slandered traditional Chinese medicine. The little fellow jumped and cried, I know. Aunt Gao's mouth really stinks. Once she didn't wear a mask and it smelled like fart. I didn't want to eat." Only then did Lin Ziyuan and Lin Momo understand what Qin Haodong meant by bad breath, not bad words. They thought Gao Yan had been wearing a big mask because of the doctor's obsession with cleanliness. Now they knew it was to cover up her bad breath. Although children's words carried no harm, Gao Yan was still ashamed by Tang Tang's words. She wanted to find a hole to hide in. She was not like this when she was a child. She started to have this inexplicable bad breath in high school. In order to cure her embarrassing disease, she chose to go to medical school during the college entrance examination and later became a doctor of medicine in M country. Over the years she had seen countless famous doctors, but none of them could solve the problem of bad breath. On the contrary, it got worse and worse. Because of this, although she was very beautiful, she still had no boyfriend in her early 30s. No man could stand that kind of bad breath. Don't you believe in Western medicine? Why can't you cure your own disease? Qin Haodong asked again. Gao Yan glared at Qin Haodong and said, so what? Although Western medicine is scientific, there are also difficult diseases that can't be solved at present. You can't deny Western medicine because of this. Difficult diseases. Qin Haodong burst into laughter and said, obviously you have bad breath caused by excessive stomach fire and gastrointestinal heat. It's a minor problem in traditional Chinese medicine and can be easily cured. However, you don't believe in traditional Chinese medicine and slander it everywhere. You're reaping what you sow, Gao Yan said. That's impossible. Don't lie to me. My stomach and intestines have been checked and there is no problem. How can it be caused by gastrointestinal function? You don't know what traditional Chinese medicine is at all. The stomach and intestines in traditional Chinese medicine refer to a system and a meridian system, which is different from an organ in Western medicine. Because of the limitations of Western medicine, we can't find the root of your disease and laughably classify it as a difficult disease. If I treat a small disease like yours, it will only take a few minutes. What? Can you cure my disease? Gao Yan said incredulously. Yes. Uncle Magic is very good. He can cure any disease. The little fellow clapped her hands and said. She was now Qin Haodong's #1 hardcore fan. In her eyes, Uncle Magic Doctor was omnipotent. Gao Yan hesitated for a moment, then she bowed deeply to Qin Haodong and begged, Dr. Qin, please help me. As long as you can cure my disease, I'll pay whatever you want. Qin Haodong could tell that she had bad breath at a glance, and he could also tell the cause. Gao Yan had already believed him to some extent. Moreover, she was now almost crazy because of this disease. As long as there was a glimmer of hope, she was willing to try. Uncle Godly Doctor, Auntie Gao is so pitiful. Please give her a few needles. If Auntie Gao is afraid of pain, I will sing another song for her. Qin Haodong touched the little fellow's head dotingly, turned back and said, for Tang Tang's sake I'll treat you. After that he asked Gao Yan to lie down on the sofa and began to apply acupuncture. This kind of gastrointestinal meridian obstruction was a piece of cake for Emperor Greenwood. 5 minutes later he put away the silver needles. All right, try and see if there's any smell. So fast. Gao Yan hesitantly took off the mask on her face. Then she put her palms together, blew on them and sniffed. In the past when she did this she would frown because of the smell, but this time she found that there was no smell at all. Could it be that the illness that has troubled me for more than 10 years has really been cured so quickly? Gao Yan's face was full of disbelief. Then she blew on her palm a few times, but there was still no smell at all. The little fellow ran to Gao Yan and said with a cute face, Auntie Gao, I'll smell it for you. Then she put her little face in front of Gao Yan's mouth, wrinkled her cute little nose and sniffed twice. Then she clapped her little hands and cried, there's no stench, there's no stench. Auntie Gao's mouth will not fart anymore. Gao Yan's face was full of excitement, and her tears fell like rain. After being tortured by bad breath for so many years, only she knew the bitterness and humiliation. Dr. Qin, thank you. Thank you so much. Gao Yan knelt down in front of Qin Haodong and said, I was wrong. I was short-sighted. I apologize to you and to traditional Chinese medicine. Qin Haodong said, get up. I've cured your illness. But you just worshipped foreign things and slandered traditional Chinese medicine. You can't speak for 3 days as punishment. He hated this woman for slandering traditional Chinese medicine for no reason. He had just used a little trick to treat her as punishment. Gao Yan got up from the ground and wanted to say something more. But suddenly she found that although she opened her mouth, she could not make a sound. Suddenly she was shocked. At this time she realized that the magic of traditional Chinese medicine was far beyond the imagination of people like her who studied Western medicine. Although she couldn't speak for 3 days, her eyes were still full of gratitude and admiration when she looked at Tang Long. She would be willing to be unable to speak for 3 months or 3 years, let alone 3 days. Seeing that Gao Yan suddenly couldn't speak, the little fellow covered her mouth with her 2 little hands and said to Qin Haodong pitifully, Dr. Magic, I'm a good girl. You can't let me be unable to speak. Her childish words caused a burst of laughter, which restored the original somewhat embarrassing atmosphere to the color of joy. Lin Momo looked at Qin Haodong with brilliant eyes. It seemed that it was a very wise choice to let her daughter recognize him as her godfather. Otherwise, Tang Tang's illness might not be cured even if she went to the hospital today. Lin Ziyuan was old and shrewd. He knew the importance of a skilled doctor to a family. This was equivalent to a life-saving talisman. His original enthusiasm for Qin Haodong added a little respect. Dr. Qin, thank you for treating Tang Tang. Your medical skills are really an eye-opener for me. At this time, no one in the Lin family dared to question Qin Haodong's medical skills anymore. The noise was so loud that even their cook and nanny came to the living room to watch the fun. Seeing that the matter was over, Zhang Defu, the cook of the Lin family, stepped forward and said, "Master, breakfast is ready. When will it be ready?" Lin Ziyuan had no mood to eat because of Tang Tang's illness. At this time Tang Tang had recovered, so he still had to eat. "Dr. Qin, it's really hard for you. Let's have breakfast together." Then he politely invited Qin Haodong to the dining room and gave up his main seat. "I want to sit next to Dr. Magic." The little fellow climbed a chair next to Qin Haodong's seat and took his hand affectionately. "Mama, you sit here." She patted the chair next to her and said to Lin Momo. Lin Momo also sat down for the convenience of taking care of her daughter. She glanced at Qin Haodong next to her and suddenly had a strange feeling in her heart. This scene seemed to be a family of three sitting together for breakfast. The breakfast of the Lin family was very sumptuous, including Chinese and Western food. Lin Momo said to the little fellow, "Tang Tang, what do you want to eat? Mama will give you some food." Tang Tang looked at the food on the table, wrinkled her nose and said, "Mama, I don't want to eat." "How can you do that? It's not good for your health if you don't have breakfast. You will get sick easily if you are not healthy," Lin Momo said as she filled a bowl of porridge with pork and century egg. "Tang Tang, have some porridge. It's good for your stomach." The little fellow looked at the porridge in the bowl and waved her hand. No. Mama, I don't want to eat anything." "How can you not have breakfast? You have to eat some or Mama will be angry." Lin Momo put on an angry face and said, "Miss Lin, Tang Tang just had a fever. It's normal to have no appetite." Qin Haodong said, "Well, I'll make some porridge for Tang Tang. I'm sure she will like it." Lin Ziyuan said, "Dr. Qin, how can I do that? You are a distinguished guest." "It doesn't matter. Tang Tang is sick. It's my duty to make something delicious for her." Qin Haodong looked at the little fellow and said with a doting expression. Zhang Defu, who had been staying at the table, stepped forward and said, "Dr. Qin, how about you arrange it? I'll do it now." "Let me do it. You can't make that kind of taste," Qin Haodong said as he stood up. Okay, I want to eat the delicious food made by Uncle Magic Doctor." The little fellow clapped her hands happily again. Zhang Dafu was a little unhappy. In his opinion, this was belittling his cooking skills. "Dr. Qin, your medical skills are really brilliant, but when it comes to cooking, you are not as good as me." He had the right to be proud. His grandfather was the imperial chef of the former emperor. His father had cooked for the high-level officials of Huaxia. He was also a famous top chef in Jiangnan, who was poached by the Lin family with a lot of money. Qin Haodong didn't care and said with a smile, "Maybe the little fellow likes to eat what I cook. Yes. I want to eat the delicious food made by Uncle Magic Doctor." The little fellow stood up to support Qin Haodong at the first time. "Well, thank you, Dr. Qin." After saying that, Lin Ziyuan turned to Zhang Defu and said, "Take Dr. Qin to the kitchen." In his opinion, if Qin Haodong was in the mood, let him do it. At most, he would waste some ingredients. The Lin family had a big business, so they didn't care. "Well, Dr. Qin, this way please." Zhang Dafu could only obey his master, but he still thought that Qin Haodong was showing off in front of an expert. "Uncle Magic Doctor, let me help you." Chapter 9. After entering the kitchen, Zhang Dafu asked, "Dr. Qin, what do you need to do?" Qin Haodong said, "The little fellow has just been sick, so it's better to eat something light. Just make some porridge for him. Is there any 8 treasure rice here?" "Yes, but it's raw rice that hasn't been soaked. It's not suitable to make porridge." Zhang Dafu despised Qin Haodong again in his heart. It was common sense for ordinary people to soak the rice in advance for at least 4 or 5 hours to make porridge. but he wanted to make it directly. He didn't know how to cook at all. It doesn't matter. Just give me the rice. Seeing that Qin Haodong insisted, Zhang Dufu didn't say anything more. He directly took a small bowl of 8 treasure rice and gave it to Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong said, "This is not enough. There must be a lot of people who will eat it later. I need more." First mate Zhang was speechless. He really didn't know where Dr. Qin's confidence came from. The Lin family had been trained by his cooking skills to be picky. They didn't like ordinary food at all. How could they eat the ordinary 8 treasure porridge? But since Qin Haodong wanted it, he would give it to him. Anyway, he was not the one who would be embarrassed later. Thinking of this, he took a big bowl of 8 treasure rice and sent it to Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong washed the rice and began to make porridge. He also knew that ordinary 8 treasure rice needed to be soaked for a period of time, but Emperor Greenwood didn't need to do that like ordinary people. He had a natural wood attribute physique and practiced the top wood attribute cultivation method, so he was good at manipulating plants. The grains in the 8 treasure rice quickly played their own value to the extreme in his hands. 10 minutes later, a strong aroma filled the kitchen. "It smells so good, so good. Uncle Magic Doctor, your porridge smells so good. When can I eat it?" The little fellow stood next to him and looked at the boiling porridge pot. She couldn't help but swallow her saliva. Later, she put a white and tender little finger into her mouth, looking like a little foodie. "Tang Tang, this is very unhygienic," Qin Haodong said and pulled the little fellow's finger out of her mouth. "But Uncle Magic Doctor, I really want to eat it." "Don't worry, it's all right," Qin Haodong said as he turned off the fire on the stove and took the porridge pot down. Zhang Dufu had been watching from the side. When the aroma of the porridge wafted out, he was surprised. He did not understand how Qin Haodong could make ordinary 8 treasure porridge so fragrant. Looking at Qin Haodong taking the porridge pot down, he couldn't help but say, "Dr. Qin, even the soaked babao rice needs to be boiled for about half an hour before it can be eaten. It's only been 10 minutes, so it's not hot enough yet, right?" "It doesn't matter. My cooking method is unique. The porridge is ready," Qin Haodong said, holding the pot of porridge in one hand and the little fellow in the other. "Let's go. It's time to eat." "Okay, I can finally eat delicious food." Tang Tang followed Qin Haodong back to the table excitedly. She stared at the porridge pot with her big cute eyes and refused to leave it for a moment. Out of politeness, Lin Ziyuan and Lin Momo sat at the table without eating, waiting for Qin Haodong. Seeing him return so quickly with a pot of fragrant porridge in his hand, a trace of surprise flashed across their faces. "Uncle Magic Doctor, hurry up, I can't wait." As the little fellow spoke, he desperately swallowed his saliva. "Don't worry, it's fine," Qin Haodong said as he scooped a bowl of babao porridge and stirred it with a spoon. Then a trace of ice genuine qi appeared in his hand to cool the porridge for the little fellow. Zi was sent to Tang Tang. He put a spoonful of babao porridge into the little fellow's mouth and asked, "Is it delicious?" But Tang Tang didn't have time to answer him. She directly grabbed the spoon from Qin Haodong's hand and ate it. Her cute and innocent look made everyone laugh. After laughing, Lin Momo was a little curious. Was the porridge made by this guy really so delicious? Tang Tang was the treasure of the family. She had eaten all kinds of delicacies and was very picky about food. She had never seen her like eating one thing so much. Qin Haodong saw Lin Momo's doubt, so he scooped 2 more bowls of porridge and sent them to Lin Ziyuan and her. "Everyone, have a taste and see how good I am." Lin Momo first picked up the spoon and ate a little like a lady. Then she immediately sped up. Her speed was no less than that of the little fellow. It was almost like a robbery. She didn't look like an ice beauty at all. Looking at the 2 beauties' appearance of foodies, Lin Ziyuan really despised them in his heart. "Anyway, we are also a rich family. We have eaten all kinds of delicious food. It's just a bowl of porridge. Do you need to be like this?" While thinking, he also picked up the spoon. When the first mouthful of porridge entered his mouth, he suddenly opened his eyes wide and then ate it in big mouthfuls. Soon he finished the bowl of porridge. "Delicious. It's so delicious. I've never eaten such delicious porridge." Lin Ziyuan said to Qin Haodong, "Dr. Qin, your cooking is so good. Can you give me another bowl?" Qin Haodong smiled and filled Lin Ziyuan's bowl. Lin Momo also finished the porridge in the bowl. Although her cheeks were flushed and she was a little embarrassed, she couldn't help but hand the bowl in her hand to Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong filled her bowl of porridge. At this time the little fellow was a little anxious. While eating she said vaguely, "Leave some for me. Leave some for me. Dr. Magic, you must leave some for me." Qin Haodong patted her little head lovingly. "Don't worry. You'll have something to eat." "Dr. Qin, can you give me some to taste?" Qin Haodong turned his head and saw that it was the chef, Zhang Defu. Zhang Defu was full of curiosity. He had never seen the Lin family lose their manners while eating. If Lin Ziyuan wasn't a billionaire, he would really think that he was a shill hired by Qin Haodong. It was just a bowl of 8 treasure porridge. Was it necessary to eat so much? Because of this, it also aroused his curiosity. He wanted to taste what Qin Haodong's porridge tasted like. "I'm welcome," Qin Haodong said as he filled a bowl of porridge for Zhang Defu. Zhang Defu put a spoonful of porridge into his mouth. Suddenly he felt a strong aroma hitting his taste buds. It was thousands of times stronger than before. "This is the fragrance of longan. This is the strong aroma of jujube. This is the sweet aroma of koix." He chewed slowly, enjoying the feast brought to his taste buds by this bowl of 8 treasure porridge. At this time he finally understood why the Lin family was so obsessed with 8 treasure porridge. Qin Haodong's 8 treasure porridge was so delicious. Unconsciously, 2 lines of tears flowed down from the corners of Zhang Defu's eyes. As he did cry. He cried because of this bowl of porridge. Lin Ziyuan glanced at Zhang Defu and despised him again in his heart. How could a chef cry because of a bowl of porridge? What a loser. Although he thought so in his heart, his hands did not stop. Soon the empty bowl in his hand was sent to Qin Haodong. Zhang Defu quickly drank up the porridge in the bowl. Although he was not satisfied and wanted another bowl as a chef, it was not appropriate to grab the porridge with the host. He could only put the bowl in his hand on the table reluctantly. He did not understand how Qin Haodong cooked ordinary 8 treasure porridge in such an amazing way. He accompanied Qin Haodong during the cooking process and did not see any special techniques. Suppressing the doubts in his heart, he said to Qin Haodong, "Dr. Qin, I, Zhang Defu, have eaten all kinds of delicacies in my life, but I have never tasted such delicious porridge. I am convinced by your cooking skills. I apologize for what I said just now." He was really convinced now. He had just said that Qin Haodong's cooking skills were not as good as his, and now he knew that he had been slapped in the face. Zhang Defu bowed to Qin Haodong apologetically and said, "Dr. Qin, I think you are more talented in cooking. If you are willing, I will recommend you to the capital immediately. With your cooking skills, you will definitely become a top chef in Huaxia or even a royal chef." After that he looked at Qin Haodong with a longing face. Qin Haodong just smiled slightly. How could he, the Emperor Greenwood, be a chef? Only his relatives were qualified to eat the food he cooked. "Thank you for your kindness, Chef Zhang, but I still prefer to be a doctor. Dr. Qin, please think about it again. It's a pity that you are not a chef with your talent," Zhang Defu said unwillingly. "There's nothing to think about. I just made something for the little fellow. I'm not interested in being a chef." Zhang Defu's face showed a trace of disappointment and he quickly said, "Dr. Qin, since you don't want to be a chef, can you teach me your cooking skills? I would like to worship you as my teacher." Qin Haodong waved his hand and said, "You can't learn my cooking skills." He was not hiding it, but Zhang Defu really could not learn this cooking skill. In the world, only he, the Emperor Greenwood, could use it. Oh. Zhang Defu's face was more disappointed, but he could not say anything. He silently retreated to the side. "Dr. Qin, is there any more porridge?" Lin Ziyuan raised the bowl in his hand again and asked. "Mr. Lin, there's no more," Qin Haodong said. He had increased the amount of porridge when cooking, but he did not expect that it would be eaten up so quickly. Lin Ziyuan realized that Qin Haodong had not eaten yet and he could not help blushing. At this time the little fellow patted her round belly and said, "Uncle Magic Doctor, the porridge you made is so delicious. I haven't had enough yet." Qin Haodong said, "I just got sick. You can't eat too much at one time. I'll cook for you later." "Well then," the little fellow said again, "Uncle Magic Doctor, can you send me to kindergarten?" "Not today. I have something to do later. I'll send you to kindergarten tomorrow, okay?" Qin Haodong did have something to do. He had promised to be Tang Tang's godfather. For the first time his daughter called him father, so he had to give her a gift. That was why he had not asked her to be his goddaughter. He would go out to prepare the gift later. Well then, Uncle Magic Doctor, you have to keep your promise. Let's pinky swear. The little fellow said as she stretched out her white and tender little finger and made a pinky swear with Qin Haodong. After breakfast, Lin Momo took Tang Tang to kindergarten, and Qin Haodong also left the Lin family. Today Tang Tang's fever reminded him that children were weak and easy to get sick. The best way to change this situation was to cut the hair and cleanse the marrow, so he wanted to give Tang Tang a marrow cleansing pill. Chapter 10. The market was very large. After entering the gate there were small stalls nearly 2 kilometers long, and then there was a huge wholesale market of medicinal materials. The wholesale market was full of large-scale wholesalers of medicinal materials. The quality of medicinal materials was relatively high, so the price was naturally more expensive. As for the stalls outside, they were selling medicinal herbs picked from the mountains by the nearby medicinal farmers. The prices were relatively cheaper, but there were also good and bad people mixed in, and it was easy to buy fake medicine. Qin Haodong naturally didn't need to worry about this. As a cultivator he was very sensitive to spiritual qi. He could distinguish the authenticity and age of medicinal materials at a glance. The 2 most important herbs for preparing the marrow cleansing pill were 100-year-old Polygonum multiflorum and ginseng. He walked slowly along the stalls outside and still found nothing after walking halfway. After all, there were too few wild medicinal materials in this era, let alone century-old treasures. Seeing that he was about to reach the end of the scattered stalls, Qin Haodong's eyes suddenly lit up. He finally found a 100-year-old Polygonum multiflorum in a stall. The stall owner was a middle-aged man in his 40s, who looked very conspicuous among many stalls. It was summer in the south of the Yangtze River. The owners of other stalls wore very little, and some were even bare-chested. However, he wore long clothes and trousers and covered himself tightly, as if he was afraid of catching a cold. Even so, the middle-aged man's face was pale and his spirit was exhausted. "Boss, how much is this?" Qin Haodong asked, pointing to the 100-year-old Polygonum multiflorum at the stall owner's feet. Hearing that there was business, the stall owner became a little energetic. He opened his small eyes and said, "This is an old Polygonum multiflorum. It costs 20,000 yuan. 20,000 yuan? Qin Haodong looked surprised and then said, "Boss, isn't the price a little too high?" In fact, he was just surprised that the boss sold it too cheaply. According to the normal market price, a 100-year-old Polygonum multiflorum would sell for more than 100,000 yuan. It seemed that the middle-aged man only knew that this Polygonum multiflorum was old, but he didn't know that it had reached 100 years. The stall owner said, "This is a pure wild Polygonum multiflorum. I dug it out of the mountains. It's at least 40 or 50 years old. 20,000 yuan is not expensive at all." Sure enough, the stall owner didn't know the value of this Polygonum multiflorum. As a modern young man, he would not suffer a loss if he could get a bargain. Qin Haodong said, "Your Polygonum multiflorum is not in good condition. Seems that it has been on display for a long time. Ordinary people will not buy it. How about 10,000 yuan, no more?" The stall owner hesitated for a moment. Although this Polygonum multiflorum was quite old, it was indeed not valued by many people. He had put it here for more than a month but had not sold it. "Okay, take the 10,000 yuan. The stall owner finally decided. After all, it was not easy for them to sell expensive medicinal herbs at retail stalls. The rich people would go to the wholesale city. They were afraid of buying fake goods here. All right. Qin Haodong was delighted. With this 100-year-old Polygonum multiflorum, he had solved one of the main herbs. He took the herbs and reached into his pocket. When he took it out, his face suddenly became awkward. There was only a 1 yuan coin in his palm. Only then did he realize that he was no longer the Emperor Greenwood, who was as rich as a country in the cultivation world. This was all the wealth left by his predecessor. "What's wrong?" Noticing the peculiar expression on Zhang Xian's face, the vendor turned to look at him. "That. Can you sell it to me for 1 yuan? Qin Haodong asked, holding up the coin in his palm. Seeing the coin in his hand, the stall owner almost fell to the ground. He had seen stingy people, but he had never seen such a stingy person. "Are you sick? You want to buy a medicinal herb worth 10,000 yuan for 1 yuan? I don't think you are here to buy medicine but to make trouble on purpose. Hurry up and leave or I will call the police." The stall owner grabbed the 100-year-old Polygonum multiflorum from Qin Haodong's hand. I don't have money, but I think you should sell it to me. Qin Haodong looked at the stall owner and said, Are you still asleep? The stall owner glared at Qin Haodong. This Polygonum multiflorum is old and costs at least tens of thousands of yuan. You want to buy it for 1 yuan. I think you are sick in the head. Go home and take your medicine. Don't go out without taking your medicine in the future. Qin Haodong said lightly, It's not me who is sick but you. You're sick. Your whole family is sick. The stall owner was completely irritated. Don't be angry. I really want to buy this Polygonum multiflorum. Qin Haodong said calmly, Although I have no money, I'm not here to make trouble. Believe it or not, you will be willing to sell it to me later and even give it to me for free. For free? Are you talking in your sleep? The stall owner was so angry that he laughed and looked at Qin Haodong as if he were looking at a psychopath. In his opinion, this guy was retarded. Not only did he not bring money to buy things, but he also thought that he would give it to him for free. He was not crazy. Why would he give it to him for free? Qin Haodong looked at the stall owner with a playful face and said, Have you been afraid of cold recently and your waist and knees are sore? The stall owner was slightly stunned, but then he was relieved. He wore the most clothes in the whole medicinal materials market, so it was not surprising that he was afraid of cold. However, the young man's next words surprised him. If I'm not mistaken, your symptoms have appeared for about 2 months. The general manifestations are fear of cold, weakness of waist and knees, and weakness of limbs. These are secondary. The most important thing is that your second master hasn't worked recently, right? The stall owner was shocked. If Qin Haodong had only mentioned the physical symptoms, he might have guessed it. But it was impossible to guess the symptoms in 2 months. Besides, no one knew that the second master didn't work except for himself and his wife. But the young man said it casually. It seemed that it was not simple. How do you know? He asked in surprise. I'm a Chinese medicine practitioner. Of course I can see it. Qin Haodong said lightly, I also saw that you went to a very cold place before you got sick. And since then you have this disease, right? The stall owner's expression became more dull. Herb gatherers like him often wandered around and went to mountains and swamps. Once he went to a small valley which was very strange. It was obviously over winter, but it was bitterly cold. Although he quickly left after picking a medicinal material, he had this strange disease since then. However, he didn't tell anyone about this. How did the man in front of him know? Why am I wrong? Looking at the expression of the stall owner, Qin Haodong knew that he was right. He said with regret, If I'm wrong, then I don't want this medicinal material. I'll turn around and leave now. But you've lost the only chance to cure it. Maybe you'll have to enter the palace to serve the emperor. Don't blame me for not reminding you. Don't go, little brother, don't go. The stall owner grabbed Qin Haodong. Hearing that his disease could be cured, he asked eagerly, Little brother, can you really cure my disease? For a man, there was nothing more tragic than being unable to recover from a setback. He had made some money collecting herbs over the years and had just married a wife who was more than 10 years younger than him. Originally, their life was happy and harmonious. Since that time, things had become like this. His wife quarreled with him every few days. If this went on, even if he didn't divorce, he would not be far from being cheated on. He had also taken a lot of medicine and seen a lot of doctors during this period, but it didn't work at all. Some people even advised him to cut it off. He didn't expect that today he would meet a young man who not only knew his disease but also said that he could cure it. He couldn't believe it. Qin Haodong said, It depends on fate when I treat people. You can choose to believe it or not. I won't force you. But since I can see it, I naturally have a way to cure it. I believe it. I believe it. The stall owner grabbed Qin Haodong's arm as if he was grabbing a life-saving straw. He said repeatedly, As long as you can cure my disease, not to mention this Polygonum multiflorum, all the medicinal materials here will be given to you. Qin Haodong said, If I'm not mistaken, the place you went to was a place of extreme yin. The yin qi there was too strong. Fortunately, you stayed there for a short time. If you stayed longer, you might have lost your life. Even so, your kidney yang was seriously damaged. If you don't treat it in time, I'm afraid you only have 2 years to live. Then what should I do? Little brother, you must save me. I'll pay any price. The stall owner was so scared that his face became paler when he saw Qin Haodong's words. Don't be nervous. As long as the cause is found, this disease is still very easy to cure. Qin Haodong said and took out the needle bag from his pocket. I just need to give you 2 needles and you'll be cured. Really? The stall owner still couldn't believe it. He had seen a lot of famous doctors and spent a lot of money to cure it. You'll know if it's true or not. I didn't ask you for money. Qin Haodong treated the man patiently for the sake of the century-old Polygonum multiflorum. Otherwise, with his character, Emperor Greenwood would have turned around and left. The stall owner thought about it and found it was true. The Polygonum multiflorum was still in his hands. If he couldn't cure it, he would just have to suffer a few needles. There was not much loss. If he could cure it, he could get the happiness of the rest of his life. Thinking of this, he said, well, I'm willing to give it a try. Qin Haodong asked the stall owner to turn around. He raised his hand and pierced 2 silver needles into the shinshu acupoints on both sides. This disease could not be cured by others, but it was very simple for him. If the kidney yang was damaged, he just needed to replenish the yang qi. The stall owner felt a slight chill on his back and then 2 hot air rose up. Then the long-lost warmth swept through his body, sweeping away the yin qi that had troubled him for many days. It didn't take long. Qin Haodong took out the silver needles and asked, how do you feel? Well, I'm really cured. The stall owner was so excited that he almost jumped up. Although he didn't do any examination, he was full of strength at this time. The most important thing was that the second master was excited again. All these proved that the young man in front of him did not lie to him. Thank you, little brother. These medicinal materials are all yours. Chapter 11. This matter had always been a worry for him, and he even felt that it was meaningless to live. He did not expect that it would be cured so magically today. I don't need so many. I'll just choose a few. Qin Haodong took a bag from the stall. First, he put the 100-year-old Polygonum multiflorum in it, and then he chose some medicinal materials he needed. Little brother, I'm so sorry. I misunderstood you just now. I have eyes but failed to recognize you. The stall owner scratched his head and said with embarrassment, it's nothing. Qin Haodong waved his hand and then walked to the wholesale market in front. He looked at the bag in his hand. Although it was not heavy, it was really a hindrance. It would be nice if he had a storage ring. His storage ring in the cultivation world was big enough to hold a mountain, but it was blown into powder by the divine thunder over the sky. Qin Haodong sighed as he walked into the wholesale market of medicinal materials with the bag. The shops here were very large, far beyond the retail stalls outside. But the 100-year-old ginseng was a rare medicinal material. He went through more than a dozen shops but did not find it. A kind-hearted shop owner said to him, little brother, if you want to buy this kind of rare medicinal material, you can only go to Shinnong Pavilion to have a try. They have wild medicinal materials and many of them are very old. If Shinnong Pavilion doesn't have them, we can only say that we can't buy them here. After thanking him repeatedly, Qin Haodong walked to the largest shop in the mall according to the shop owner's guidance. When he came to the front of Shinnong Pavilion, he could not help but secretly admire it. It was worthy of being the largest shop in the mall. As soon as he came to the door of the shop, he smelled a burst of herbal fragrance. There was a huge plaque hanging above the wide door, on which there were 3 golden characters. Shinnong Pavilion. The shop was very busy with people coming and going. Qin Haodong walked around. The medicinal materials here were indeed richer in spiritual qi than those in other shops. Obviously they were picked in the wild, not artificially cultivated. He was just about to ask the waiter if there was any ginseng more than 100 years old when several people walked into Shinnong Pavilion. Walking in the front was a burly old man. Although his hair and beard were gray, he had an extraordinary momentum with an unconcealable aura of a powerful army. Qin Haodong could keenly feel that this old man must have been a soldier and not an ordinary one. Next to the old man was a tall young woman with a ponytail. Her appearance was comparable to Lin Momo's and she was full of heroic spirit. Behind the old man and the beautiful woman stood 2 tall and straight young men. Their auras were also extraordinary. It seemed that they belonged to the category of bodyguards. After seeing these people, Qin Haodong's heart slightly moved. He keenly felt the fluctuation of internal qi from the old man and the young woman. These 2 people turned out to be warriors. This was the first time he had felt the aura of a martial artist since his rebirth. He could not help but pay more attention to it. After the old man entered the door, the waiter who had been accompanying Qin Haodong hurried to greet him and said politely, "Sir, you're here?" The old man nodded and said, "Have the herbs I ordered arrived yet?" We're here. Please rest in the VIP lounge first, I'll go get it now," the waiter said as he led the old man and the others to the VIP lounge next to him. Then he turned around and went into the warehouse. Soon he came out with a big red brocade box. After seeing the big red brocade box, Qin Haodong's pupils suddenly shrank. He keenly felt an abundant spiritual qi. Even the spiritual qi emitted by the 100-year-old Polygonum multiflorum in his pocket was not as rich as this thing. This was a century-old medicine, or even much older than a century. It seemed that it should be 400 or 500 years old. After making a preliminary judgment in his heart, Qin Haodong followed the waiter to the door of the VIP lounge, wanting to see what was in the box. The waiter came to the old man with a big red brocade box in his arms and said, "Sir, this is the old medicine found by our Shinnong pavilion with all our connections. It's really a good thing of 500 years. You can't buy such good medicine anywhere else. Please have a look." Then he opened the lid of the brocade box, and a blood-red ginseng appeared in front of the old man. Feeling the increasingly rich spiritual qi, Qin Haodong marveled in his heart. This was blood ginseng, and it was definitely more than 500 years old. Although this thing was far from being comparable to the top-grade heavenly treasures he had in the cultivation world, it was definitely a good thing that was hard to find on Earth. At this time the old man put on a pair of white gloves and carefully picked up the ginseng in the brocade box. After looking at it for a long time he exclaimed, "Good stuff, it's really good stuff." The ponytail girl next to him said, "Grandpa, can it cure your disease?" "Well, it should work." The old man nodded with satisfaction, with irrepressible joy in his eyes. The waiter said, "Sir, don't worry. This 500-year-old ginseng is a life-saving thing. It's said that it can even save the dead. I can guarantee that you'll be cured immediately." The old man said, "What's the price of this ginseng? Did the boss tell you?" "Yes, he told me. The boss went out to do something. Before he left, he specially told me that you're a distinguished guest of our Shinnong pavilion. This ginseng will be charged at the lowest price, 10,000 yuan per year. You only need to pay 5 million yuan. 5 million yuan for a medicinal material was a sky-high price, but the old man didn't even frown. He turned to the ponytail girl and said, "Shuang Shuang, pay the money." The ponytail girl agreed, took out a checkbook, wrote a check for 5 million yuan and sent it to the waiter. After looking at the check, the waiter said politely to the old man, "Sir, thank you for taking care of our Shinnong pavilion business. You're welcome to come again in the future." "No problem." The old man carefully put the ginseng back into the brocade box, picked it up and was about to leave. At this time he heard a voice coming from the door. "Sir, this ginseng is good. How about giving it to me?" The old man was slightly stunned. He looked up at the door and saw a young man in his 20s coming in. The ponytail girl's face turned cold. She stared at Qin Haodong with a pair of beautiful almond-shaped eyes and said, "Who are you? Who let you in?" Qin Haodong didn't care at all. He said with a smile, "It doesn't matter who I am. What matters is that this ginseng is the most suitable for me." The ponytail girl said angrily, "Are you crazy? Get out of here." The waiter also thought that this person was crazy. How could he give the medicinal material bought at a high price of 5 million yuan to him? He stepped forward and said, "Sir, if you want to buy medicine, please go outside. Don't disturb our distinguished guest." Qin Haodong ignored the waiter and said directly to the old man, "Sir, I'm saving your life. Give me this ginseng and I can save your life. Otherwise, go home and prepare for your funeral." After he said this, the expressions of everyone in the room changed. The ponytail girl even shouted angrily, "Get out of here." After shouting, she stepped forward with her right foot and punched Qin Haodong in the face. It's not good for a girl to get physical. I'm afraid that she won't be able to get married in the future. Qin Haodong smiled and slightly leaned to one side to avoid the ponytail girl's punch. Then he said to the old man, "Sir, as long as you listen to me, you will definitely give this ginseng to me." The old man raised his hand to stop the ponytail girl beside him and said to Qin Haodong with great interest, "Young man, tell me, why should I give you such a good medicinal material?" Qin Haodong said, "Because if you don't give me the ginseng, your life will be in danger." The old man's expression changed slightly. "Young man, are you threatening me?" As he spoke, a huge momentum surged out of the old man's body. This momentum had the fierceness of a superior and the killing power of an iron-blooded soldier. However, Qin Haodong ignored it and said with a relaxed face, "It's not a threat. I think your lungs have been injured before. You want to buy this ginseng to cure it, right?" The old man was slightly surprised and asked, "How do you know?" Qin Haodong said with a smile, "I'm a doctor. Of course I can see it." The ponytail girl said, "Grandpa, don't listen to this liar's nonsense. He must have heard our conversation just now." The old man nodded slightly and felt that what his granddaughter said made sense. They had indeed mentioned using ginseng to cure wounds in their conversation just now. Qin Haodong did not take it seriously at all. He took 2 steps forward and said to the old man, "Your lungs were once injured by a gunshot, but he was treated in time at that time and recovered well. It would be fine if he lived an ordinary life. However, the old man is a warrior and the attribute of your cultivation method is cold, which caused the lung meridians in the injured part to be blocked. The more profound your cultivation is, the more serious the injury will be." The old man's expression suddenly changed. The young man in front of him was right. Over the years, the more profound his cultivation was, the more serious his injury was. Although he had asked many doctors for medicine, he did not get better at all. The girl said to Qin Haodong sharply, "Who the hell are you? Who sent you here?" As soon as she said this, the 2 young men behind her also became nervous. They involuntarily put their right hands on their slightly bulging waist. "Don't be so nervous. As I said, I'm just a doctor." Qin Haodong smiled at the ponytail girl and then continued to say to the old man, "Your injury has become more serious recently. Every midnight when the cold is the strongest, you often cough so much that you can't sleep. Occasionally you can see blood. It's better when the yang qi is strong at noon." The old man raised his hand to stop the nervous ponytail girl and the 2 young men behind her. "Let this little brother continue." Qin Haodong said seriously, "Your lungs have been injured for decades. Coupled with the erosion of the cold qi of the cultivation method every day, the meridians have been blocked very seriously. It's difficult to open them with ordinary medicine. However, this ginseng has reached 500 years of age and is full of medicine. Once the blocked lung meridians can't be opened, it will cause great pressure to other meridians. The first to be hit is the heart meridian." Chapter 12. After Qin Haodong said that, a chill rose from the bottom of the old man's heart. At the same time he had a trace of doubt and asked, "Little brother, with all due respect, how do you know all this?" Qin Haodong's words were true, which made him believe 70% or 80% in his heart. However, he was very surprised that this young man had not felt his pulse or treated him. How could he tell his physical condition so clearly? "I'm a Chinese medicine practitioner. Chinese medicine pays attention to look, listen, question and feel the pulse. I just used inspection." The ponytail girl cried, "Grandpa, don't listen to his nonsense. How can there be such a young Chinese medicine practitioner? Even Chinese medicine practitioners can't reach the level of inspection. Zhang Tianhe, a medical master, needs to feel your pulse when he treats you, let alone a young doctor like him." "Young doctor? How am I young?" Qin Haodong smiled at the girl and said, "If I tell you that I ignored Zhang Tianhe when he wanted to be my apprentice, would you believe it?" "Nonsense. How could Master Zhang want to be your apprentice? It's more likely that you are his apprentice." After the ponytail girl finished speaking, she turned to the old man and said, "Grandpa, I think this man has ulterior motives. He inquired about your condition in advance and came here to cheat us. Otherwise, how could he appear when we just bought the ginseng? How could there be such a coincidence?" "Are you saying I'm a liar?" Qin Haodong asked. "Do you need to ask? You are a liar. And a brainless liar. Do you think you can cheat by inquiring about my grandpa's condition from other sources? Stop dreaming." The girl said confidently. "Since you said that I inquired about your grandpa's condition, then I'll tell you something that can't be inquired about," Qin Haodong said as he glanced at the girl. What are you going to do?" The ponytail girl was a little nervous for no reason. She had always been fearless, but the young man in front of her brought her a kind of pressure that she had never felt before. "When you were 13 years old, Aunt Menstruation visited for the first time. But because of the cold attribute of your family's cultivation method, There was not much bleeding. Since last year when Aunt Menstruation visited, you will have abdominal pain and blood clots will overflow. Today is the 3rd day of this month. You must have had abdominal pain and taken brown sugar water to drive away the cold, right? The ponytail girl looked at Qin Haodong with horror. She had not even told her parents about it, but the young man knew it clearly. Was he a devil? What? Am I wrong? Or do you think I heard all this? Qin Haodong said with a smirk on his face. Bastard. After the girl recovered from her shock, her cheeks turned crimson. How could she possibly know about such things? She was ashamed and angry, but it was not good for her to lose her temper. She angrily retreated to the side and did not speak again. At this time the old man had already seen that Qin Haodong was not an ordinary person. He indeed had amazing medical skills. He was also a decisive person, so he immediately made a decision. Little brother, time was of my eyes of the of. Then he picked up the big red brocade box on the table and gave it to Qin Haodong. Thank you for saving my life, little magic doctor. Please accept this ginseng. Qin Haodong took the brocade box without hesitation. The old man was lucky to meet him today. Otherwise he would have lost his life. It was reasonable for him to accept a ginseng from him. The waiter next to him was confused. Who is this young man? He took away a ginseng worth 5 million yuan with just a few words in less than 3 minutes. What's more, he offered it with both hands. The old man said with a smile, I'm Nailan Jie. This is my granddaughter Nailan Wushuang. What's your name, little magic doctor? Qin Haodong. Nailan Jie said again, little magic doctor, please help me to see how my condition is now. Qin Haodong said, the stagnation of the meridians in your lungs has reached a very serious level. Now you have symptoms of coughing with blood. If you don't get effective treatment, you can only live for 3 months. 3 months. Even though Nailan Jie had been indifferent to life and death, he couldn't help feeling disappointed when he heard that he only had 3 months to live. At this time, Nailan Wushuang no longer doubted Qin Haodong. She stepped forward and said eagerly, Dr. Qin, please save my grandpa. As long as you can cure my grandpa's illness, I will satisfy any request you make. Qin Haodong looked at her meaningfully. Nailan Wushuang couldn't help blushing again. Then she realized that she had said something wrong, which was easy to arouse people's imagination. She quickly said, I mean, no matter how much money you want, our Nailan family can meet your needs. Although Nailan Wushuang corrected her faulty wording, Qin Haodong couldn't help looking at her. Although this girl was a little shrewish, he had to admit that her figure was quite good. Nailan Wushuang didn't care so much. She looked at Qin Haodong eagerly, looking forward to his answer. Since I met you, it's fate. I'll do it once. Qin Haodong said lightly. Little magic doctor, do you mean you can cure my disease? Nailan Jie asked in surprise. Qin Haodong said with a smile, you all call me little magic doctor. If I can't cure your disease, it will ruin my reputation. That's great. Little divine doctor, when can you treat this old man? Nailan Jie asked eagerly. The cold qi in your body is too heavy now and the treatment effect is not very good. Well, I'll write a prescription for you. Buy all the medicinal materials and go back to take a medicinal bath for 12 hours to empty the cold qi in your body. I'll go to dredge your meridians tomorrow morning. Qin Haodong wrote a prescription and handed it to Nailan Jie. At the same time he told him the precautions of the medicinal bath. The medicinal materials are easy. You can buy them in Shenong Pavilion. Nailan Jie handed the prescription in his hand to the shop assistant next to him and asked him to fill the medicine according to the list. Then he said to Qin Haodong, little magic doctor, I think you are also here to buy medicine. If you need anything you can take it here. I'll ask Shuang to pay the bill together. Qin Haodong thought that the old man was quite good at making trouble. He just needed to buy the medicinal materials for refining the marrow cleansing pill and the qi nourishing pill, so he bought them all at once in Shenong Pavilion. After buying the medicinal materials, Nailan Jie hurried back to the medicinal bath with 2 bodyguards and asked Nailan Wushuang to send Qin Haodong home. Following Nailan Wushuang to a red Hummer, Qin Haodong thought to himself, this girl is really hot. Other girls get a sports car or something. She got such a domineering Hummer. Where did Nailan Wushuang asked after getting in the car. Find a good hotel and get a room. Nailan Wushuang just started the Hummer. After hearing Qin Haodong's words, Her hand trembled and she almost hit the guardrail next to her. What did you say? Who wants to get a room with you? Nalan Wushuang cried with shame and anger. Qin Haodong smiled and said, Didn't you just say that as long as I can cure your grandpa's illness, you will meet all my requirements? If you can't cure my grandpa, I will kill you. Nalan Wushuang slammed on the accelerator after saying that, and the Hummer rushed forward with a violent roar of the motor. What do you mean? Is this a promise? It was Qin Haodong's turn to be confused. He was just joking. Did this girl really want to get a room with him? Soon the Hummer was parked in front of a 5-star hotel, and they came to the front desk together. Qin Haodong looked at the angry Nalan Wushuang and said, What are you waiting for? Hurry up and get a room. Can't you do it yourself? Nalan Wushuang said angrily. I don't have money. Qin Haodong said righteously. You. Nalan Wushuang had no choice but to count on the person in front of her to cure her grandpa. She had to take out a bank card from her bag and put it on the front desk. The waiter looked at Qin Haodong with a strange look, thinking that no one could be so domineering as a gigolo. Soon the room was ready. Nalan Wushuang followed Qin Haodong into the room. After closing the door, she immediately became nervous. Is this guy really going to do that kind of thing with me? If he uses Grandpa's illness to threaten me to do that kind of thing, will I agree or not? If I don't agree, will he not cure Grandpa? Just as she was struggling fiercely, Qin Haodong turned back and said, What are you still doing here? This is the room I got. Are you going to stay here and not leave? What do you mean? Nalan Wushuang didn't respond for a moment. Sister, I said I want to get a room, not that I want to get a room with you. I asked you to follow me because I don't have money. Now the room has been booked and I have something to do. You can go back first. Looking at Nalan Wushuang's confused face, Qin Haodong's eyes flashed a trace of pride, but he put on a frightened expression and said, You really want to covet my beauty. I tell you I'm not a casual person. Bastard. Nalan Wushuang's cheeks turned crimson. She stamped her feet and turned around to run out of the room. Before she went out, Qin Haodong cried, Wait a minute. Nalan Wushuang immediately became nervous again. She turned back and cried, You said you let me go. You can't go back on your word. I didn't say I would go back on my word. But I haven't got lunch yet. Leave me some money. At this time, Qin Haodong had nothing but the coin in his pocket. Nalan Wushuang grabbed a handful of banknotes from her bag and put them on the table beside her. Then she ran out of the room like escaping. Qin Haodong looked at her back and smiled. Then he took out the medicinal materials he bought from the bag and began to refine medicine. After Nalan Wushuang ran out of the room, she leaned against a hidden corner and gasped. Bastard! How dare you tease me? She scolded in her heart. In the past she was the one who bullied other men. When had she been so embarrassed? Qin Haodong didn't make that kind of request to her, which made her feel relieved, but then she felt a little disappointed. She was so beautiful. Why didn't this guy have any ideas? Why didn't he make any request? Was she not attractive? There were countless men who surrounded her like flies and treated her like an ancestor. But today she was driven out of the door by Qin Haodong, which made Nalan Wushuang, who had always been proud and arrogant, quite unconvinced. Chapter 13. The reason why Qin Haodong came here to get a room was to refine elixirs. As a gift for his daughter, it was not appropriate for him to refine elixirs in Lin's house. He still didn't know where Lin Ziyuan's villa number 6 was, so it was best to go to the hotel. As the Emperor Greenwood, it was easy for him to refine these low-level elixirs. He extracted the essence of various medicinal materials and made them into elixirs. An hour later, 12 crystal-clear marrow-cleansing elixirs and 9 qi-nourishing elixirs were placed on the tea table of the hotel. It was still early and Tang Tang would be out of school in a few hours. He simply ate some food sent by the hotel and began to cultivate to improve his cultivation. Although the spiritual qi on earth was scarce, with the support of qi-nourishing elixirs, it made his breakthrough much easier. After swallowing 3 qi-nourishing elixirs in a row, Qin Haodong heard a crisp sound in his ears, as if something had broken. Then the genuine qi in his body was like the Yangtze River, flowing endlessly, more than twice as strong as before. Qin Haodong opened his eyes. He was at the late stage of qi refining, one step away from foundation building. It seemed that he could only rely on elixirs to cultivate on Earth. However, the blood ginseng and the 100-year-old Polygonum multiflorum were worth more than 6 million, plus some other auxiliary medicinal materials, almost 7 million. The cost was indeed a little high. He had to hurry to make some money so that he could improve the speed of cultivation. Seeing that it was almost time, he checked out of the room and rushed to Lin's villa. The bodyguards of Lin's family had been instructed by Lin Ziyuan, so they let Qin Haodong enter the hall directly after seeing him. Uncle Magic Doctor. As soon as he entered the door, he saw Tang Tang flying towards him like a happy swallow. Qin Haodong reached out, picked up Tang Tang, spun her around a few times and then held her in his arms. After the little fellow giggled, she put her arms around Qin Haodong's neck and kissed him. She said, "Uncle Magic Doctor, I miss you so much." Lin Momo was secretly jealous. She had raised her daughter for so many years, but why did she look closer to outsiders than to herself? Lin Ziyuan stepped forward and said with a smile, "Dr. Qin, Tang Tang has been asking to see you since she came back from kindergarten. Fortunately, you came in time or the roof of the house would have been lifted by her. This child is indeed close to me." Qin Haodong felt that the timing was just right. He said, "Mr. Lin, I want to recognize Tang Tang as my goddaughter. I have already discussed it with Miss Lin. What do you think?" "All right, that's a good thing." Lin Ziyuan was overjoyed when he heard that. He was thinking about how to make friends with Qin Haodong. With the relationship of the little fellow, the two families could be said to be a family. "Uncle Godly Doctor, what's a goddaughter?" the little fellow asked curiously. "From today onwards, you are my daughter and I am your father," Qin Haodong said seriously. "Is that so, Mama?" The little fellow turned to look at Lin Momo. Although Lin Momo was a little dissatisfied with Qin Haodong calling her godfather, she still nodded when she saw the little fellow's eager eyes. "Great. Great. I finally have a papa. I finally have a papa." After getting her mother's affirmation, the little fellow immediately became excited. Then she jumped from Qin Haodong's arms to the ground, took his hand and said, "Papa, take me to kindergarten." "So late. Why do you still want to go to kindergarten?" Lin Momo asked in surprise. "I want to tell the children in our class that I have a father. I am not a wild child." Seeing the little fellow's appearance, Qin Haodong felt sad. He had let his daughter suffer for so many years. Lin Momo turned her head directly, wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes, and cursed the man who disappeared 100 times in her heart. Lin Ziyuan sighed and went back to the room silently, for fear that he would also cry if he stayed any longer. "Papa, come with me. I want them to see that I have a papa." The little fellow did not know what the adults were thinking. She took Qin Haodong's hand again. After calming down, Qin Haodong said, "Tang Tang, Papa tells you that the kindergarten is over and even the auntie is off work. You won't see the children if you go there. Papa will take you to school tomorrow morning, okay?" The little fellow thought for a moment and said, "Well, don't lie to me. You must take me to kindergarten tomorrow morning and go there early." "Don't worry, Papa will keep his word." Qin Haodong held the little fellow and said, "Tang Tang, and Papa will teach you that it's Papa, not Papa." "This is Papa. You are Tang Tang's Papa," the little fellow said with a serious look. Qin Haodong was speechless. Forget it, it was better to call him Papa than Uncle. "Tang Tang, Papa has prepared a gift for you. Do you like it?" As he said, he held a marrow-cleansing pill in his palm. The marrow-cleansing pill was crystal clear, like a precious pearl. With its pink color, it looked extremely lovely. "It's so beautiful. Papa, what is this? A glass ball?" Tang Tang picked up the marrow-cleansing pill with her chubby little hand and asked admiringly, "This is the pill Papa specially prepared for you. You will never get sick after taking it." Qin Haodong explained patiently. Lin Momo's expression changed. Qin Haodong promised to be the little fellow's godfather, that he would ensure that she would never get sick for a lifetime. She didn't expect that he would fulfill his promise so soon. Looking at the beautiful marrow-cleansing pill, she was also a little curious. If she hadn't seen Qin Haodong's amazing medical skills, she really wouldn't dare to let the little fellow eat this kind of unlicensed product. But now she knew that it was absolutely a priceless thing. "Really? I hate being sick. It's very uncomfortable." The little fellow held the pill in her hand again, showing a tangled look. "But Papa, I think it's so beautiful. I can't bear to eat it." It doesn't matter. Papa is a miracle-working doctor. I have more here. As Chin Haodong said, he took out another marrow-cleansing pill from his pocket and gave it to Lin Momo. He said with a smile, Mom, you have one too. How can you say that? Lin Momo glared at Chin Haodong coquettishly, but she still reached out and took the marrow-cleansing pill. Chin Haodong laughed and said, eating this pill will change your physique, and you will never get sick again. Can I eat it now? Lin Momo asked. Of course, but the marrow-cleansing pill will remove the impurities in your body. You'd better go back to your room to eat it and then take a shower. Chin Haodong said, you go back to take the pill. I'll take Tang Tang to her room. After all, she is still a little young and I'll take care of her. Well, call me if you need anything. Lin Momo said and hurried back to her room. She knew that Chin Haodong would never brag about this kind of thing with his medical skills. And she was not worried about giving Tang Tang to Chin Haodong. As a mother, she could clearly feel Chin Haodong's love for Tang Tang. It was the most sincere affection from the bottom of his heart, without any impurities. Chin Haodong took Tang Tang back to her room, put the little fellow on her little bed and said, Tang Tang, do you want to be smarter? Of course, the teacher said that both parents like smart children. Then Papa will teach you a way to be smarter. Do you want to learn? Yes, Tang Tang has to be smarter. Seeing that the guidance was successful, Chin Haodong continued, later your little belly will feel a little hot, and then you will think about it seriously. Wherever the hot air goes you will follow it, okay? Can I be smarter in this way? The little fellow asked with her big cute eyes. Of course, Papa will not lie to you. Great. Great. Papa, let's get started. The little fellow cried excitedly. Chin Haodong let the little fellow take the marrow-cleansing pill, then lay on the little bed and closed her eyes. He put his right hand on the little fellow's dantian and injected a trace of green wood genuine qi. What he just taught the little fellow was not a game to become smarter, but the Xiantian Sutra he got from Empress Xiantian of the cultivation world. As the daughter of Emperor Greenwood, the little fellow would not be an ordinary person. Chin Haodong wanted to take her to start cultivating. After injecting the genuine qi into the little fellow's dantian, Chin Haodong said, Tang Tang, it's starting. Pay attention to the hot air on your little belly. After that, he began to use his green wood genuine qi to guide Tang Tang to run according to the mental cultivation method of the Xiantian Sutra. Tang Tang did what Chin Haodong said wholeheartedly. She was very serious and careful, for fear that she would not be able to become smarter if she was not careful. After running it 3 times in a row, not only did he establish the basic circulation route of the Xiantian Sutra in Tang Tang's body, but he also refined the marrow-cleansing pill. This way of absorption was much better than directly swallowing it. After the transformation of the little fellow's body, her meridians were not only nearly 100 times wider than those of ordinary people, but also extremely tough. She would definitely make rapid progress in cultivation. Well, you can get up, Tang Tang, Chin Haodong said as he withdrew his right hand. The little fellow jumped up from the bed and asked eagerly, Papa, I was very serious just now. Am I smarter now? Chin Haodong said with a smile, Tang Tang, it's impossible for people to become particularly smart all of a sudden. You're just a little smarter today. As long as you follow this method again tomorrow, you'll be a little smarter. After a long time you'll become the smartest child, so you must stick to it. Papa, I'll stick to it, the little fellow said very seriously. Well, let's go to Mama now and let her give Tang Tang a bath. After that, Chin Haodong took the little fellow to Lin Momo's room. In the room, Lin Momo was wrapped in a white bath towel, standing in front of the mirror in a daze. After returning to the room, she took the marrow-cleansing pill as soon as possible. She felt warm and comfortable all over her body. After cleaning the impurities from her body, she felt extremely relaxed, which was indescribably good. Chapter 14. Oh my God, what kind of medicine is this? It's amazing. Looking at the peerless face in the mirror, Lin Momo suddenly became excited. She opened the bath towel on her body and showed a beautiful body to the air to enjoy. Mama, I'm here. At this moment the door suddenly opened. The little fellow ran in from outside, followed by Chin Haodong. At home, in order to make it convenient for the little fellow to go in and out, Lin Momo usually did not lock the door. She did not lock the door today. When the little fellow and Qin Haodong appeared at the door together, she was instantly shocked. For a moment she was like a wooden sculpture and forgot to wrap the bath towel on her body. Qin Haodong was also stunned on the spot. Originally, he had sent the little fellow to Lin Momo to take a bath, but he did not expect to see this scene in front of him. "Mama, why are you naked? You're not shy at all." As the little fellow spoke, she even used her fingers to scratch her cheeks twice, making a shameful gesture. Only then did Lin Momo react. After letting out a scream, she quickly wrapped her body with the bath towel. "Why did you come in without knocking the door?" Lin Momo said to Qin Haodong with shame and anger. "I came with Tang Tang. She didn't knock the door, so I followed her in." Qin Haodong then said awkwardly, "But Miss Lin, don't worry. I didn't see anything just now." He said this to ease the embarrassment, but he did not expect that the little fellow next to him clapped her hands and cried, "Papa is not a good boy. Papa is lying. You opened your eyes wide just now, but you said you didn't see Mama." Well, this time not only Qin Haodong but also Lin Momo was embarrassed. They were really speechless about this innocent little fellow. The room became silent. Seeing that Papa and Mama did not speak, the little fellow thought that they did not believe her, so she quickly said, "Mama, I really didn't lie. You see, Papa's mouth is still hanging." Then she made a thoughtful expression and said, "It's so strange. Mama is not delicious. Why does Papa drool when he sees it?" Suddenly the little fellow's expression changed. She said to Qin Haodong nervously, "Papa, Mama can't be eaten. Don't eat Mama or I will have no Mama." Eat Mama? Qin Haodong couldn't help but think of scenes that Tang Tang could never imagine. At this time, although Lin Momo was wrapped in a bath towel, her sexy collarbone and smooth calves were still exposed, which made her look more attractive. He quickly pressed his nose with his hand, fearing that it would bleed again. Then he ran away from Lin Momo's room. "Papa, don't run!" the little fellow shouted from behind, but Qin Haodong was too embarrassed to stay. "Mommy, why did Papa run away?" the little fellow asked Lin Momo. He might be in a hurry to go to the toilet." Lin Momo had no experience in dealing with this kind of situation. She could only make up a reason and then took the little fellow into the bathroom again. Qin Haodong returned to the living room, made himself a cup of tea and slowly tasted it. About half an hour later, Lin Momo walked into the living room with the little fellow. Her hair was wet, her cheeks were flushed, and she wore a set of white home clothes. She looked extraordinarily beautiful and charming. She was not as cold as she was in the company. After dinner, Lin Momo said to Qin Haodong, "Dr. Qin, when will our treatment begin today?" Qin Haodong was playing with the little fellow. After a moment of astonishment, he remembered that he had to massage Lin Momo. He said, "Dr. Qin is also very busy. Let's start now." Lin Momo wanted Qin Haodong to leave as soon as possible after the massage. After all, such a big man stayed at her home and the little fellow called him Papa and Mama. This feeling was really strange. "Well, let's start now," Qin Haodong promised. Me too, me too," the little fellow cried. "What do you want?" Qin Haodong asked. "I also want to give Mama a massage." "Well, let's treat Mama together." Qin Haodong took the little fellow's hand and went to her room with Lin Momo. After Lin Momo lay on the bed, Qin Haodong began to massage her head. The little fellow followed and massaged Lin Momo's feet. Qin Haodong said that Lin Momo still needed follow-up treatment in order to get closer to her. At this time, the massage for her was also a healthcare technique. He used greenwood genuine qi to help her recuperate her body. Lin Momo lay on the bed and felt 2 pairs of hands on her body. At first she was a little shy, but then she inexplicably had a trace of happiness. If they were really a family of 3, it would be a wonderful thing. It was a pity that the damn man had disappeared for so many years. She secretly sighed, but soon the feeling of loss was overwhelmed by the feeling of comfort. Qin Haodong's technique was so good that she felt very comfortable. After a while, Qin Haodong said, "Miss Lin, the back is finished. Please turn over." The little fellow suddenly said, "Papa, you shouldn't talk to Mama like this." "Then what should I say?" Qin Haodong looked at the little fellow with great interest and asked. "I saw Papa on TV call Mama wife, darling or baby." The little fellow said with a very serious expression. Qin Haodong looked at Lin Momo and didn't know how to answer for a moment. He didn't mind calling his woman that, but unfortunately, Lin Momo couldn't accept it now. Lin Momo blushed and said to the little fellow, Tang Tang, what you see on TV is fake. It's all for acting, so you can't take it seriously. But the fathers of our kindergarten children don't call their mothers miss. The little fellow said. Well, Lin Momo wanted to tell her that she and Qin Haodong were different from other parents. But when she saw the longing look on the little fellow's face, she knew that she just wanted to have a normal family and a pair of loving parents. She finally held back and didn't say it. After hesitating for a moment, Lin Momo turned to Qin Haodong and said, Dr. Qin, how about you call me Sister Lin in the future? Before Qin Haodong could speak, the little fellow cried again, No, sister can't either. The teacher said that close relatives can't get married. Also, Mama can't call Papa Dr. Qin. It's not intimate at all. It's not like a family. Qin Haodong was secretly happy. He thought that his daughter was so sensible that she knew what her father wanted to do. Then what do you say? Anyway, we can't call each other like on TV. Lin Momo said with some annoyance. She didn't know how to deal with the little fellow. Tang Tang thought about it seriously and then said, Mama calls Papa Little Dong Dong and Papa calls Mama Little Momo. That's like a family. Little Dong, Lin Momo was embarrassed. How could she call out such an intimate name? No. This name is not good. She quickly rejected the little fellow's proposal. But it was Mama who asked me to think of a name. You didn't listen to me. The little fellow said and pouted. It seemed that she was about to cry. Tang Tang, don't cry. Papa will think of a way. Qin Haodong comforted the little fellow and turned to Lin Momo and said, How about this? From today on I'll call you Momo and you call me Haodong. Looking at the little fellow who was about to cry, Lin Momo nodded helplessly and said, Well, we'll do as you say. Qin Haodong looked at the little fellow and asked, Tang Tang, is that okay? Then we're like a family. The little fellow immediately put away his tearful expression and jumped up and down cheerfully again. The matter was solved. Qin Haodong continued to massage Lin Momo. This time Lin Momo was lying on the bed on her back. Her beautiful face and seductive curves made Qin Haodong's heart hot. He quickly swallowed a few mouthfuls of saliva. If the little fellow saw him drooling again, it would be embarrassing. There were many taboos when massaging on the back. Qin Haodong controlled his hands with great willpower to avoid the sensitive parts as much as possible. Papa, you're not serious at all. You haven't massaged here yet. The little fellow patted Lin Momo on one side and said, Qin Haodong thought to himself, I also want to press here, but your mother won't let me. Papa, press here. Feels really good. I like to sleep here at night. After the little fellow said that, Lin Momo's face was so red that it could almost drip blood. She couldn't wait to turn over and hide her face. It was too shameful. Qin Haodong showed a face of envy. It would be great if he could have this kind of treatment when he slept at night. Lin Momo wanted to give up the massage, but she was afraid that it would affect her recovery. She said to the little fellow helplessly, Tang Tang, go and play with Grandpa for a while. The little fellow said, I don't want to play with Grandpa. I want to massage Mama with Papa. It seemed that if the little fellow didn't leave, the massage today would not be very good. Qin Haodong bent down and whispered something in Tang Tang's ear. Then the little fellow said very happily, Okay. I'm going to play with Grandpa now. Papa and Mama, hurry up. After the little fellow said that, she ran directly out of the room and closed the door. Well, let's start the treatment. After that, Qin Haodong continued to massage Lin Momo. Lin Momo was very curious about what Qin Haodong had said to the little fellow. She asked, What did you say to Tang Tang? Nothing. I just said it casually. That's impossible. Tell me what you said. Lin Momo had a bad feeling in her heart. If he had just said it casually, the little fellow would not have left so easily. Chapter 15. Of course. I'll tell Tang Tang to play with Grandpa first, and then I'll discuss with Mom when to get her a little brother. Lin Momo couldn't describe her feelings at the moment. She had known Qin Haodong for less than 2 days, but she had been shy more than she had been in her whole life. Her image as an iceberg president had been completely destroyed. How can you talk to a child like that? If I didn't say that, you wouldn't have left. How could I continue to treat you if you didn't leave? But you can't lie to a child, right? You silently said in anger and shame. You mean we really want to give her a little brother? Qin Haodong said with a smile. Lin Momo was so ashamed that she stopped talking to Qin Haodong. She closed her eyes and felt her heart beating violently. Finally, after the massage, Qin Haodong and Lin Momo walked out of the room and returned to the living room. Lin Ziyuan was playing games with the little fellow. He looked at Lin Momo and Qin Haodong strangely. After seeing the two of them, the little fellow immediately ran over and asked cheerfully, "Papa, Mama, have you discussed it? When will you give me a little brother?" Lin Momo's cheeks flushed again and she glared at Qin Haodong. I've already discussed it with my mom. You're so cute, so I don't want a little brother anymore. Qin Haodong could only bite the bullet and explain to the little fellow. But I only want a little brother. The little guy seemed to not give up until he achieved his goal. Tang, let's talk about the younger brother later. Dad is going back. Qin Haodong looked up and said to Lin Ziyuan and Lin Momo, "It's getting late. I'm going back." Before Lin Ziyuan and Lin Momo could speak, the little fellow shouted, "Papa, where are you going?" "I'll go home first. I'll play with Tang tomorrow, okay?" Qin Haodong said. Not good. You're lying." The little guy immediately cried. Tang, I didn't lie to you. I'll definitely send you to kindergarten tomorrow." That's not it. Kindergarten children live together with their families of 3. You're already my papa. Why do you still want to leave? The little fellow cried more and more sadly. "If Papa doesn't live with me and Mama, what can I say to the children tomorrow? They'll say I'm bragging and they'll say I'm a wild child." Qin Haodong turned his head to look at Lin Momo. He could only let the child's mother solve this problem. Lin Momo squatted down and comforted the little fellow, saying, Tang, Dad has something to do. Let him go first, okay? I'll come early tomorrow to send you to the kindergarten." No. I want to sleep with Papa and Mama. I don't want to be a child without Papa. I'm Tang, Papa, I'm Papa Tang. Tang, Tang. Lin Tang, he Lin he Tang. He Tang old D Lin. Tang's Tang Kamalin for so many years, his daughter's marriage had been a worry for him. Lin Momo had long reached the age of marriage, but she was as cold as ice and did not pay attention to any man. Today he was surprised to find that Lin Momo had changed a lot after Qin Haodong's arrival, which made him very happy. Qin Haodong's medical skills were absolutely worthy of the Lin family. The rarest thing was that he was very congenial with Tang, so Lin Ziyuan was more willing to see his daughter find the happiness that belonged to her. Seeing her father running away, Lin Momo looked at the crying little fellow and felt sad. Finally she said, "Don't cry, Tang. Mom and Dad will sleep with you tonight. Not only today but also in the future. I want to be a child with a papa." The little guy said. "Well, I'll listen to you," Lin Momo said helplessly. Okay, I can finally sleep with Papa and Mama." Seeing that Lin Momo agreed, the little fellow immediately smiled. She held Qin Haodong and Lin Momo in one hand and walked happily to the bedroom. The bed was so big that it was not crowded for 3 people to lie side by side. Lin Momo's heart was beating fast. It was the first time for her to lie in bed with a man since that night. Tang, Mom has done as you said. Go to sleep." Lin Momo wanted the little fellow to fall asleep as soon as possible so that Qin Haodong could leave as soon as possible. No, I want Papa and Mama to sleep with me." "Haven't Papa and Mama already slept with you?" Lin Momo said. No. I have to wear pajamas when I sleep, the one you wear every day." After the little fellow said that, Qin Haodong's heart skipped a beat. He didn't know what the child's mother would look like in pajamas. He couldn't help but think of the scene of Lin Momo wrapped in a bath towel just now, and he couldn't help but feel hot. Lin Momo was a little hesitant. Her pajamas were very sexy. She didn't feel anything in front of the little fellow, but if Qin Haodong saw it she would be embarrassed. Tang, it's different today. Papa's not wearing pajamas, is he? In desperation she could only use Qin Haodong as a shield. Qin Haodong felt depressed. At this time the door rang twice and then it was pushed from the outside. Lin Ziyuan appeared at the door with a paper bag in his hand. "Little Qin, I know you definitely didn't bring a change of clothes. This is a new set of pajamas I bought. I haven't worn it yet. You can use it first." After saying that he put the paper bag in his hand on the floor at the door. turned around and left, closing the door behind him. The little fellow immediately got up from the bed, grabbed the paper bag at the door and sent it to Qin Haodong. Papa, change your pajamas. Hey Papa, thank you. Qin Haodong took the paper bag and walked into the cloakroom next to him. After changing into pajamas, he walked back. Looking at Qin Haodong in his home clothes, Lin Momo was speechless for a while. She thought to herself, what is this father doing? He didn't help me just now, but now he smashed my shield. Mama, it's your turn. The little fellow ran over and pulled Lin Momo. Looking at her expectant daughter, Lin Momo could only sigh helplessly. She got up and went into the cloakroom. Soon she came out in a pink pajamas. This nightgown was a spaghetti strap style. Her chest was white, and under the illumination of the light, it emitted an alluring color. The bottom of the skirt was very short and it could barely cover her underwear. This kind of half-covered, half-uncovered feeling made people even more imaginative. Seeing Qin Haodong staring at her, Lin Momo's face turned red. She quickly went to bed and covered her body with the quilt. Tang Tang, is it okay now? Go to sleep. Lin Momo said to the little fellow. No, I have to do this. The little fellow grabbed Lin Momo's left hand and Qin Haodong's right hand. She put their hands together, put them on her chest, and then put the two little hands on it. Then she closed her eyes with peace of mind. Feeling the temperature of Qin Haodong's big hand, Lin Momo blushed again and her heart beat faster. She wanted to take back her hand, but she was afraid of waking up the little fellow. She could only let Qin Haodong hold her hand. As time went by, a strange feeling slowly rose in her heart. She faintly hoped that time would stop at this moment and never pass. For so many years she had thought about finding a relationship of her own. But when she thought of Tang Tang, she was afraid that her daughter would be wronged, so she had been forcibly controlling her emotions and disguised herself with a cold appearance. But at this moment she had a faint expectation for the man she had just known for 2 days. She hoped that they could be together forever. What's going on? Did I fall in love with him? Then Lin Momo dispelled the idea in her heart. Impossible. Impossible. I'm 3 or 4 years older than him and I've given birth to a child. It's impossible for us to be together. Qin Haodong, who was sleeping on the other side of the bed, was trapped in a very beautiful memory at this time. He was very satisfied with the current feeling, so he quietly guarded the 2 most important women in his life. After a long time, Lin Momo woke up and slowly pulled her hand back. Dr. Qin, it's late. You'd better go back. I promised Tang Tang that I would sleep here tonight. It's not good to lie to a child, is it? Qin Haodong said cheekily. He really didn't want to leave. I'll talk to Tang Tang. It's not appropriate for us to be together like this. Lin Momo's voice became cold as she spoke. But it's so late and I have nowhere to go. Qin Haodong said, although Mr. Lin gave me the key to the villa, I don't know where the Jiangnan picturesque community is. Let me stay here for 1 night and I'll go back tomorrow, okay? A strange expression flashed across Lin Momo's face. She said, it's very simple. This is the Jiangnan picturesque community. We live in Villa number 5 and Villa number 6 is next door. You can go back now. Qin Haodong was stunned for a while. He had never thought that he was a neighbor of the Lin family. Momo, what if Tang Tang wakes up and can't see me? Qin Haodong was still reluctant to give up the warm family atmosphere at the moment. You can rest assured that Tang Tang won't wake up as long as she sleeps all night. You can come early tomorrow morning for breakfast. Well, see you tomorrow morning. Seeing Lin Momo's firm attitude, Qin Haodong knew that this kind of thing could not be rushed. Today, with the help of the little fellow, he had made great progress. It was better to quit while he was ahead. He left the Lin family and went to the next villa number 6. He took out the key and opened the door. The layout and decoration of this villa were basically the same as that of the Lin family. The room had all kinds of household appliances and daily necessities. Qin Haodong went to the bathroom to take a shower and then went back to the room to sleep. The next day he came to the Lin family early. At this time the little fellow had just got up from the bed. After one night, Qin Haodong could already feel the aura of the Xiantian Sutra from the little fellow. The reason why he chose to pass on the cultivation method of Empress Xiantian to his daughter was that once the Xiantian Sutra formed a cultivation cycle, it could run on its own and be cultivated at any time and anywhere. That was to say, The little fellow did not need to deliberately cultivate, and her cultivation was improving all the time. Papa, where have you been? The little fellow asked. Chin Haodong glanced at Lin Momo next to him. Papa went to exercise. Chapter 16. After breakfast, Chin Haodong and Lin Momo sent Tang Tang to the kindergarten. The kindergarten Tang Tang studied in was called Golden Branch and Jade Leaf, the top aristocratic kindergarten in Jiangnan City. The children in it were also worthy of the name of Golden Branch and Jade Leaf. Any one of them was either rich or noble. Children from ordinary families could not afford the expensive fees here. After arriving at the school, the little fellow did not rush in. Instead, she held Chin Haodong's hand and waited at the door. Zhang Daod, look, this is my papa. Wang Mengming, I have papa, I have papa. Li Qiqi, I have papa. Don't call me a wild child. Looking at the little fellow's childish and serious expression, Chin Haodong and Lin Momo felt sour in their hearts. Zhao Lei, look, this is my papa, the little fellow said to a little girl who was held by a young woman. It's true. Your papa is so handsome. He's even more handsome than my papa. The little girl looked at Chin Haodong and said, Of course my papa is so handsome, he's the best. The little fellow said with a proud face. Zhao Lei's mother was Xiao Lili. She glanced at Chin Haodong with strong jealousy flashing in her eyes. Then she said, Tang Tang's mother, I heard that you've been taking care of the child alone and it's very hard. Is he really my father? After hearing her question, Tang Tang and the little girl named Lei stared at Lin Momo together, waiting for her answer. Lin Momo looked at her eager daughter, hesitated for a moment and said, Yes, his name is Chin Haodong. He's indeed my father. If he's my father, why is his surname Chin? Could he be your new boyfriend? Xiao Lili sneered. Although she did not know Lin Momo, she could tell from her clothes and temperament that she was a rich person. She thought Chin Haodong was Lin Momo's sugar baby, and the handsome boy made her jealous. Well, Lin Momo was speechless, for she had never thought about it. Because my father's surname is Tang, I took my mother's surname. Now my daughter's surname is Tang. Is there any problem, ma'am? Chin Haodong stared at Xiao Lili and said, No problem. Of course I have no problem. It has nothing to do with me who Tang Tang's father is. It's just that many kids don't know who their biological father is. I'm afraid that Tang Tang will make a mistake. Xiao Lili looked sarcastic. Obviously she didn't believe what Chin Haodong said. A trace of anger flashed across Chin Haodong's face. He was humorous, cynical, and even liked to play tricks sometimes, but his daughter and women were his reverse scale. He would never allow anyone to insult and ridicule them. Moreover, this gossipy woman was obviously looking for trouble. She had the scent of 2 men on her body, which meant that she had slept with 2 men last night. Such a woman was really shameless to mock others. You're right. You shouldn't meddle in other people's business. You'd better take care of yourself. Chin Haodong pointed at Xiao Lili's pants and said, Why are your pants wet? Did he pee his pants? What did you say? The woman looked down and saw that her originally very fashionable low-rise jeans were already wet. What's going on? Did he really pee his pants? How could it be? Xiao Lili really couldn't figure it out. Although her private life was a bit messy and she was infected with some gynecological diseases, it was not to the extent of urinary incontinence. How could he suddenly pee his pants? Layla, your mom stinks, the little fellow said and covered her nose with her little hands, hiding behind Chin Haodong. The woman screamed and handed the child to the aunt at the gate of the kindergarten. Then she ran away like she was escaping. A trace of weirdness flashed across Lin Momo's face. Although she didn't see what Chin Haodong did, she was sure that it had something to do with Chin Haodong. Looking at the tall figure in front of her, a massive warmth rose in her heart. At the critical moment, such a person stood in front of her and her daughter, which was a scene she had imagined countless times. Seeing Xiao Lili running away, the little fellow giggled. Papa, why did Auntie pee her pants? Chin Haodong smiled playfully and said, Who knows? Maybe she drank too much water. After that, he stayed with the little fellow at the gate of the school for a while. When almost all the children had arrived, he handed her over to the aunt at the gate. After waving goodbye to the little fellow, Lin Momo said to Chin Haodong, It was you who did that, wasn't it? What? I don't know what you're talking about. Although he knew that Lin Momo was talking about Xiao Lily, the best way now was to pretend not to know. Don't pretend. I know it must have something to do with you. After saying that, Lin Momo bit her sexy red lips and said in a low voice, "Thank you." Qin Haodong understood the meaning of those 3 words. He said solemnly, "From today on, as long as I'm here, no one can bully you in Tang Tang." Looking at the handsome and determined face in front of her, Lin Momo suddenly had an impulse to rush into his arms, but she controlled herself in the end. She lowered her head and calmed her complicated mood by tidying her bangs on her forehead. Then she said, "Where are you going?" "I'll ask the driver to send you." "No need. Someone will come to pick me up soon." He was going to treat Nailan Jie today and he had just received a call from Nailan Wushuang. They agreed to meet at the gate of the kindergarten. As soon as he said that, a roar of motor came and a black Audi A6 stopped in front of Qin Haodong and Lin Momo. The window was rolled down and a beautiful face showed up. Nailan Wushuang yelled, "Big liar, get in the car." Qin Haodong was depressed. "Big liar? Did I cheat you of your money or your sex? My wife will easily misunderstand me if you call me that." He said hello to Lin Momo and then sat in the passenger seat of the Audi A6. Who is this woman? What's the relationship between them? Looking at Qin Haodong's back disappearing, Lin Momo felt a little disappointed. Maybe they were the most suitable. After all, she was the mother of a child. Thinking of this, she got in the car with Zhang Dabiao and rushed to the company. At the same time, Xiao Lily changed her wet pants and was doing a physical examination in Jiangnan Hospital. The result of the examination was as she expected. Except for some minor gynecological diseases caused by excessive living, there were no symptoms of urinary incontinence. What happened? Why did I have urinary incontinence at that time? Xiao Lily recalled the scene from the beginning to the end. Suddenly she realized that it must have something to do with that toy boy. He must have done something to her. Although she didn't see Qin Haodong's movements clearly, she was sure that it must have something to do with Qin Haodong. "Bastard, how dare you mess with me? Wait and see, I'll teach you a lesson. And that woman, why is she prettier than me? What right do you have to keep a gigolo? Why is that little boy cuter than my daughter? What right do they have?" She was a very jealous woman, and now anger and jealousy had made her lose her mind. Thinking of this, Xiao Lily took out her phone and dialed a number. "Honey, I was bullied. You have to help me." Nailan Wushuang didn't drive her Hummer today. Instead, she drove an old Audi A6. Although it was not as expensive as a Hummer, it had a special license plate of Jiangnan Military Region and a special pass on the windshield. It was much heavier than a Hummer. Not to mention Jiangnan City, this car would be unimpeded in the whole Jiangnan province. No one dared to stop it. Who was Nailan Jie? It seemed that he had a high position in the military. The Audi A6 aroused Qin Haodong's curiosity. He took out his phone from his pocket and tried to ask Baidu to see if there was any information about Nailan Jie. Seeing the result, Qin Haodong was a little surprised. This old man really had a strong background. According to the information, Nailan Jie made many military achievements in the war between Huaxia and M country. He became the youngest general at that time and was praised by Taizu himself. Later, in the war between Huaxia and Annan country, he was one of the most important generals in the front line. He was known as the brave soldier in the military. According to the major forums, although Nailan Jie was no longer in the military, his prestige was still there. His background was absolutely amazing. Moreover, Nailan Jie's children were all extraordinary. Some occupied high positions in the military and some rose to prominence in the government. In terms of family background, the Nailan family could be regarded as a big family in Jiangnan province. After Qin Haodong got in the car, Nailan Wushuang kept a straight face and didn't speak. Obviously, she was still angry about yesterday's things. She put all her energy into the Audi A6. The car sped up and felt like a sports car. She thought that with her driving skills, Qin Haodong would be scared even if he didn't pee his pants. Unexpectedly, this guy just played with his mobile phone and ignored her speeding car. "Hey, what are you doing?" Nailan Wushuang couldn't help but ask. She also slowed down the car. After all, it was very exhausting to drive too fast in the urban area. "Nothing. Recently there is a popular female anchor. I just want to watch." Vulgar. Nailan Wushuang rolled her eyes at Qin Haodong and asked, What are you doing in the kindergarten? What else can I do in the kindergarten? Of course, to send the children. What? Are you married? Qin Haodong's answer was far beyond Nalan Wushuang's expectation. Her hand trembled and the Audi A6 almost collided with a big truck coming from the front. Fortunately, Qin Haodong was quick enough to push the steering wheel and escape the disaster. What are you doing? Why are you so excited? Qin Haodong smiled and said, I have good news for you. I'm still single. You still have a chance. As he spoke, his hand was still on the steering wheel, and Nalan Wushuang's white and tender hand was under it. Take your stinky hand off me. Nalan Wushuang also realized that her reaction was too intense. Her cheeks flushed and she shook off Qin Haodong's hand. It has nothing to do with me whether you are married or not. After a pause she asked again, since you are not married, how can you have a child? Qin Haodong smiled and said, who said that I have to get married if I have a child? Can't I get pregnant before marriage? Nalan Wushuang was angry and funny at the same time. She asked, who is the woman standing next to you just now? She is really beautiful. She had always been arrogant and rarely paid attention to other women. But the woman she just saw was different. She had an elegant temperament and a beautiful face. Even she couldn't help but look at her a few more times. Chapter 17. You're not serious at all. Nalan Wushuang said angrily. I'm such an honest person. How could I not be serious? I'm telling the truth. Qin Haodong said with an aggrieved face. Then let me ask you, how old are you this year? 21. How old is the child you mentioned? So, you've been in love with her for 5 years. No, to be exact, we've only known each other for 2 days. Bastard, you're talking nonsense. If she hadn't been driving, Nalan Wushuang would have kicked this guy out of the car. He was obviously talking nonsense, but he said it so seriously. I'm not talking nonsense, I'm telling the truth. Qin Haodong said with an innocent face. Nalan Wushuang shut her mouth angrily. She knew that if she kept talking she would be driven mad by this guy. The Audi A6 sped out of the city, all the way to the front of a courtyard with green bricks and green tiles. This was a special sanatorium of the Jiangnan military region. It was said that all the cadres living here were above the division level. Nalan Wushuang parked the car and walked to the courtyard with Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong looked at the sanatorium while walking. The environment here was really good, and the spiritual qi between heaven and earth was much better than that in the city. It was perfect for cultivation. Not far away, a young man in his 20s suddenly ran to them. He was wearing international famous brands from head to toe. It was obvious that he was rich and he was holding a big red brocade box in his hand. Shuang, why didn't you answer my call? The young man ran to Nalan Wushuang and smiled like a dog's tail. Zhang De, I've told you not to harass me. Nalan Wushuang said angrily. Yes. I really have something to do. Zhang Deji was obviously afraid of Nalan Wushuang. He quickly held up the brocade box in his hand and said, I heard that you're looking for ginseng of the right age for Grandpa Nalan. I have a friend who is in the medicine business, so I asked him to buy the best Korean ginseng. I heard that it's hundreds of years old. Today I'll give it to Grandpa Nalan. After saying that, he opened the brocade box with a fawning expression, revealing a snow-white Korean ginseng. Qin Haodong didn't care about Zhang Daji at first. He thought that Zhang Daji was just a pursuer of Nalan Wushuang. It seemed that the little girl didn't like him at all. However, when he saw the Korean ginseng, he couldn't help but widen his eyes. Good stuff. It was really good stuff. If this Korean ginseng was paired with his blood ginseng, he would be able to gather the 2 main ingredients needed to concoct the foundation-building pill. No, he had to get his hands on this treasure. No wonder Qin Haodong was tempted. This Korean ginseng was 600 or 700 years old, and the spiritual qi it emitted was extremely rich. It was a good thing, but it was a pity that he didn't send it at the right time. He sighed for Zhang Daji again in his heart. Zhang Daji must have spent a lot of time and energy to find such an old Korean ginseng. If he had brought it here 2 days earlier, Nalan Wushuang might have treated him differently. Unfortunately, it was useless now. As expected, Nalan Wushuang didn't even look at the Korean ginseng in the brocade box. She stared at Zhang Daji and said, I don't need it. You can take it back. Well, Zhang Daji was confused. He had heard that Nalan Wushuang was looking for ginseng that was more than 100 years old. He thought it was a good opportunity to show off, so he used all his connections and spent 10 million yuan to buy this ginseng from Koryo. He just wanted to make Nalan Wushuang smile. However, Nalan Wushuang didn't smile. Instead, her attitude toward him became colder. Shuang, don't be impulsive. This Korean ginseng can definitely cure Grandpa Nalan's illness. I said I don't need it. Before Zhang Daji could finish, Nalan Wushuang interrupted him. After listening to Qin Haodong's analysis, she knew that the better the ginseng was, the more toxic it would be to her grandpa. Naturally, she didn't like Zhang Daji at all. She knew that if she didn't make things clear, Zhang Daji would still pester her. She pulled Qin Haodong and said, "Our Nalan family has already invited Dr. Qin to treat Grandpa. You don't have to worry about it." Zhang Daji glanced at Qin Haodong and then said to Nalan Wushuang angrily, "This is obviously the toy boy you found. How could he be a doctor?" "Zhang Daji, be respectful." Nalan Wushuang was already hot-tempered. She had lost her patience at this time. She said with a cold face, "Even if he is a toy boy, what does it have to do with you?" Qin Haodong was speechless. He thought to himself, "Who did I offend? I became a gigolo when I came to treat a disease. And I inexplicably became this idiot's rival in love. Is this the legendary undeserved accusation? Shuang, after such a long time, don't you understand my feelings for you? Only we are the most suitable for each other. What's so good about this toy boy? He is white and tender. He doesn't look like a man at all. Maybe he is glass." "Enough." Before he finished speaking, Nalan Wushuang shouted angrily, "Zhang De, shut your stinky mouth. You." Although Zhang Daji's eyes were full of anger, he did not dare to attack Nalan Wushuang. The reason why he pursued Nalan Wushuang was partly because of her beauty, but the main reason was that he wanted to climb up the tree of the Nalan family. In general, he was very afraid of the hot-tempered Miss Nalan. He did not dare to provoke Nalan Wushuang, but it did not mean that he did not dare to provoke Qin Haodong. "Toy boy, stay away from Shuang. Otherwise you won't even know how you die." Seeing that this idiot was becoming more and more reckless, Qin Haodong was annoyed and shouted coldly, "Get out." "What? How dare you scold me? I will destroy you today," Zhang Daji said and rushed to Qin Haodong. Nalan Wushuang moved and stood in front of Qin Haodong. She said angrily, "Zhang De, what are you doing? This is a guest of the Nalan family. Get out of here or I won't be polite." She had been suppressing the anger in her heart. If Zhang Daji's father and her father had not been best friends, she would have beaten him up. Seeing that Nalan Wushuang was about to go berserk, Zhang Daji could not help but take 2 steps back. He naturally knew that this woman was powerful. Although he had practiced taekwondo for several years, he was no match for her at all. If they really fought, he would only be abused. But he did not give up. He pointed at Qin Haodong and shouted, "Toy boy, it's not good to hide behind a woman. Do you dare to have a duel between men with me?" In his opinion, Qin Haodong was a toy boy who lived off a woman. He did not have the courage to accept his challenge. As long as Qin Haodong admitted defeat, the hot-tempered Nalan Wushuang would naturally choose him. Qin Haodong's heart skipped a beat. He was thinking about how to get this ginseng. This idiot came to him by himself. He raised his hand and pushed away Nalan Wushuang, who was standing in front of him. He smiled and said to Zhang De, "Do you want to have a duel with me? Do you dare? If you are a man, don't hide behind a woman." Zhang Daji shouted. He was full of confidence. He thought that even if he could not defeat Nalan Wushuang, who had practiced martial arts since childhood, it would be very easy for him to defeat the toy boy in front of him. "Well, I dare not," Qin Haodong said, "but it's embarrassing for me to fight you. How about this, let's have a bet." "Bet? What do you want to bet?" Zhang Daji asked. "Let's bet on the ginseng in your hand. If I win, you give me the ginseng. Do you dare to bet?" "Well..." Zhang Daji hesitated. He did not expect that Qin Haodong would make such a bet. The ginseng was worth tens of millions of yuan. "What? Don't you dare to bet? Weren't you very manly just now?" Qin Haodong said and put his arms around Nalan Wushuang's slender waist. He was determined to get the Korean ginseng, so he wanted to use Nalan Wushuang to anger Zhang Daji. Nalan Wushuang's face turned slightly red. For some reason she did not dodge and let him hold her. Seeing that the woman in his heart was so intimate with another man, Zhang De suddenly became furious and shouted, Let's bet. Why not? What if you lose? If I lose, you can do whatever you want, Qin Haodong said indifferently. Qin Haodong said indifferently. In the face of such an idiot, he had no possibility of losing. Zhang Di said fiercely, if you lose, I will break your legs, and you will never appear in front of Shuang Shuang. Zhang Daji, don't go too far. Nalan Wushuang cried. Am I going too far? This ginseng is worth tens of millions of yuan. It's a big loss for me to bet on his legs. What else did Nalan Wushuang want to say? Qin Haodong pulled her and said, he's right. It's a fair bet. I'll bet my legs on his 10 million yuan. Will that work? Zhang Deji has practiced taekwondo, Nalan Wushuang whispered to Qin Haodong. She only knew that Qin Haodong's medical skills were excellent, but she didn't know how good his fighting skills were. Don't worry. It's easy for me to deal with such an idiot, Qin Haodong said. He pushed Nalan Wushuang aside and faced Zhang Daji alone. Seeing that the woman he liked was so intimate with Qin Haodong, Zhang Daji was so angry that his lungs almost exploded. He moved his feet and kicked Qin Haodong's temple fiercely. How dare you steal my woman? I'll kick your head today. Seeing that his right leg was getting closer and closer to Qin Haodong's head, Zhang Daji sneered proudly. But before he finished laughing, he suddenly felt as if his chest had been hit by a train. A great force seemed to have smashed his sternum. His whole body flew backward like a broken sack and fell to the ground with a plop. It's mine. After kicking Zhang Daji away, Qin Haodong happily ran over and picked up the big red brocade box that had been placed aside. Seeing that Qin Haodong had defeated Zhang Daji so easily, Nalan Wushuang couldn't help but be secretly surprised. Even she couldn't win so easily. What kind of freak was this guy? Not only was his medical skills amazing, but his fighting skills were also amazing. Bastard, how dare you set me up? No matter how stupid Zhang Daji was, he realized that he had fallen into Qin Haodong's trap. He struggled to stand up, but he failed several times. This kick was very heavy. Qin Haodong showed mercy for the sake of the Korean ginseng. Otherwise, Zhang Daji would have been disabled for the rest of his life. Qin Haodong held the ginseng and said with a smile, Dear, that's not right. You took the initiative to challenge me. How can you say that I set you up? You have to pay the price for being blind. Boy, wait and see. I won't forgive you. Zhang Deji shouted with a ferocious face. You want to make trouble for me? Sure, but I won't show mercy next time unless you give me another ginseng like this. Of course, Qin Haodong wouldn't take the threat of such a small character seriously. At this time, several military guards ran over. Seeing Zhang Deji on the ground, they asked Nalan Wushuang, Miss Nalan, what happened? Nalan Wushuang waved her hand. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.